Good morning, sir. Dr. BNS Murthy, sir.
Good morning, Mulige.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
ಆರಾಮಿದ್ದೀರಿ ಸರ್?
Fine.
ಇನ್ನೊಂದು 5 ನಿಮಿಷದಾಗ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಸರ್.
Okay, fine.
So, good morning, Murthy ಅವರೇ.
Good morning, Indresh.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Good morning, Dr.
Good morning, ಮುಳಿಗೆ ಅವರೇ.
ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ.
Good morning to all the organizers and faculty of the College of Horticulture and the distinguished guests for today's program.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay.
ಧಾರವಾಡ ವಿಸಿ ಒಬ್ಬರು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ ಸರ್.
ಇನ್ನು ಬಂದಿಲ್ಲ ಅವ್ರಿನ?
ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್.
ಹೌದಾ? ಓಕೆ.
ಅಶೋಕ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರಲ್ಲ?
ದಿನೇಶ್ ಅವರು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರಲ್ಲ?
ದಿನೇಶ್ ಅವರು ಕ್ಲೋಸಿಂಗ್ ಸೆರೆಮನಿ. ಅಶೋಕ್ ಇನ್ನು ಮತ್ತೆ ಇದು ಇವರು ವಿಸಿ ಅವರೊಬ್ರು ಧಾರವಾಡ ಮತ್ತೆ DRD
ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸರ್.
ಡಿ ಸರ್ ಈಗ ನೋಡಿದ್ವಿ ಅದ್ನಿ ಸರ್ ಇವರು DR ಪಾಟೀಲ್ ಕಾಂಟ್ಯಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗ. ಈಗ ಇದಾರೆ ಅವ್ರು ಸಿಕ್ಕರು. DR ಪಾಟೀಲ್ ಅಂತ ನೋಡಿ ಅವ್ರ ಸರ್ ಹತ್ರ ಇದ್ರು ಅವರು. ಜಸ್ಟ್ ಟು ಜಾಯಿನ್.
ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಅವರೇ,
ಸರ್ ಹೇಳಿ ಸರ್.
ಈ ಕುಷ್ಟಗಿ ತಾಲೂಕ್ ಹತ್ರ ಒಬ್ಬ ಫಾರ್ಮರ್, ಈಸ್ ಎ ಸಾಫ್ಟ್ವೇರ್ ಇಂಜಿನಿಯರ್ basically, but he has established a drumstick processing unit.
Okay.
80 acres of land ಇದೆ. Full all 80 acres is covered with only drumstick.
Okay.
He is not interested in pod yield. He is interested only leaf yield.
Leaves. Okay.
ಅವರು ಫುಲ್ ಏನೋ PKM ಒಂದು ವೆರೈಟಿ ಹಾಕಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ನಮ್ಮ ವೆರೈಟಿನೂ ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ ಅವರು. ನಮ್ದು ಏನೋ ಲೀಫ್ yield ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ ಅಂತೇಳಿ
Okay.
gone for PKM variety. And he is having a processing unit, full 100% organic. No pesticides, no 100%. Yesterday I visited, I spent nearly 3 hours.
Okay.
Afternoon. And he is preparing the leaf powder. ಎಲ್ಲ ಡ್ರೈಯರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಇದು ಸೋಲಾರ್ ಡ್ರೈಯರ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ಹಾಕಿ leaf powder ಇದು ಮಾಡಿ. And we also prepare capsules, 500 mg capsules, and also tablets, plus leaf powder. And 100% it is exported to US.
Link ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಡಿದಾರಾ? Market link?
No, market link ಎಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಅವರಿಗೆ.
Okay.
And export US export ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದಾರೆಲ್ಲ. And it is purely is compliant with the ಇದು ಏನು European standards, organic certification ಎಲ್ಲ complete.
Okay.
USD ಅದು ಇಂದು ಎಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ. ಎಂಟೈರ್ 80 acres is only drumstick, nothing else.
Okay. ಅವರು MOVPCD ಅಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಇದೆ, ಅದ್ರಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಾದ್ರು ಪಾರ್ಟಿಸಿಪೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಕೇಳಿ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ
ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಇನ್ವೈಟ್ ಮಾಡುವ ಅಂತಲೇ ಒಂದು ವರ್ಚುವಲ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ
ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ. ಇಂದ್ರೇಶ್ ನಾವು ಮಾತಾಡೋಣ ಬೇರೆ.
ಓಕೆ. ಹಲೋ, ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್. ಯಾರು ಹೇಳಿ? ತುಂಬಾ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ ಅದು ಫಾರ್ಮ್. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ರಿಯಲಿ ವರ್ತ್ ವಿಸಿಟಿಂಗ್. ಬಂದ್ರ ಮುಳಿಗೆರೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಚೆಟ್ಟಿ ಅವರು?
ಅದೇ ಅವ್ರು ಜಸ್ಟ್ PA ಮಾತಾಡಿದಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಇನ್ನೂ ಒಂದ್ 2 ನಿಮಿಷ ಇದೆ ಸರ್, 10 ಆಗಿಲ್ಲಲ್ಲ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ.
ನಿಮ್ಮಲ್ಲಿ ಮಳೆ ಬಂದಿದೆ ಅಲ್ಲ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ?
ಮಳೆ ಎಕ್ಸೆಸ್ ಮಳೆ ಇದೆ ಸರ್. ಒಂದು
ಇದು ಬಂತ ನಿಮಗೆ ಬಡ್ಜೆಟ್ ಕಮ್ಯುನಿಕೇಶನ್ ಇದ್ರದ್ದು
ಬಂದಿದೆ ಸರ್ ನಿನ್ನೆ
ಅದು ನ್ಯೂ ಲ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಟು ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಇದು.
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್
ಏನ ನೀವು
ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಬಂದಿದೆ ಈಗ ಸ್ಟಾರ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ ಸರ್. ಈಗ ಇಮಿಡಿಯೇಟ್ ಏನ್ ರಿಕ್ವೈರ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇದೆ ಅದನ್ನ
ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ವೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಮಾಡಿಸಿದಿರಾ ಬೌಂಡ್ರಿ?
ಅದೇ ಸರ್ ಈಗ ಅದನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದೀವಿ ನಾವು ಸರ್ವೆ ಇವರಿಗೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೊನ್ನೆ DC ಅವರಿಗೂ ಭೇಟಿ ಆದೆ ಅಂತ ತಮ್ಗೆ ಹೇಳಿದ್ ಸರ್ ಅವರು. ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರ ಕಡೆಯಿಂದ ಡೈರೆಕ್ಷನ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲದೆ ಇವರು ಮಾಡೋದಿಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ಅವರು. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ DC ಅವರಿಗೆ ಭೇಟಿಯಾಗಿ ಇದು ಮಾಡಿಸಿದ್ವಿ ಸರ್. ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಸರ್.
ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಮುಳುಗೆ,
ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್. ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್.
ಗುಡ್ ಮಾರ್ನಿಂಗ್ ಸರ್.
ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ Chetty here. Good morning, Murthy avare. Good morning.
Morning, sir. Good morning. Very
Murthy,
good morning.
I'm glad that you are back to IHR from
Yes,
Delhi.
sir. Yes, sir.
Very nice to see you, Dr. Murthy.
ನೀವು ಮೊದಲು ಬಂದ್ರಿ, ನಿಮ್ ಹಿಂದೆ ನಾವು ಬರ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ನೀವು ಅಲ್ಲೇ ಇರ್ಲಿ ಅಂತ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಂದಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ನೀವು ಯಾಕೆ ಬಂದ್ರಿ ಅಂತ ನಾನು. ಒಬ್ರು ಯಾರನ್ನ ಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಮವ್ರು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ರೆ ಒಳ್ಳೇದು.
ಇದಾರೆ ಸರ್, ಇದಾರೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ.
ನಮ್ಮ ಭಾಸ್ಕರನ್ ಬಿಟ್ಟು ಬಂದಿರು ಎಲ್ಲರೂ ಕೂಡ.
ಭಾಸ್ಕರ್ ಈಗ
Bhaskar is there to take care of all of us. ಈಗ ಒಂದ್ ಕೆಲಸ ನಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ I have some problems in the sense the World Bank review is going on of IDP. I will suppose if I have to go there, I will go. I will be on and off, but I am here only. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Suppose if I have to answer to some queries of World Bank people, then I will go to the other room and again I will be back. Right?
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. No problem.
You can start anytime. I am here.
Right, sir. Just 10, sir. We'll start.
ನಮ್ಗೆ ಟೈಮ್ ಇವತ್ತು ಸ್ಲಾಟ್ ಇವತ್ತೇ ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ 9:30 to 11 ಕೊಟ್ಟರೆ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್.
ಓಕೆ.
ನಮ್ದೇ ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಯೂನಿವರ್ಸಿಟಿ ಅದ ಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ.
ಸೊ IDP ಇದೆ ಸರ್?
IDP ಇದೆ, ಹೌದು.
NAGP.
NAGP. Yeah, anytime you wish you can start. No issue.
Ashok.
Start ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡ್ರಿ.
I think all guests are here. We can start. Ashok, Praveen, DRD ಅವರು ಜಾಯ್ನ್ ಆಗಿರ್ತಾರಂತ, ನೋ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸರ್ ಅವರು ಚಟಿ ಸರ್ ಬಿಸಿ ಇದಾರೆ, ಅವ್ರು ಮತ್ತೆ ವರ್ಲ್ಡ್ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು.
ಓಕೆ ಸರ್.
ಡಿ ಅವರು ಇದಾರೆ, DR ಒಬ್ರು ಬಂದಿರ್ಬೇಕಷ್ಟೇ.
We'll start, sir.
You need to wait.
Good morning, everybody.
More than 100 participants, 150 around there. You can start.
Good morning, everybody. With the permission of the chairman of this inaugural session for the national level webinar on canopy architecture management of perennial commercial horticulture crops, I wholeheartedly welcome all of you to this national webinar. Before I go into the details of the webinar, just I wish to give a bird eye view or the preamble of this webinar. 2 days back, there was a report in Times of India that India has logged to the highest horticulture production of 329.86 million tons, with fruits recording almost 108.8 million tons of the production in 2019-20. It's a matter of pride for all horticulturists. In spite of this high production, unfortunately, we are still lagging in our productivity, which is lagging to the tune of 11.7 tons per hectare when you compare to the average of 22 tons in the developed countries. So one of the reasons for this poor productivity is the poor canopy management or non-existent canopy management in several fruit crops. The question always arises why the plants may not be left as such to be governed by nature itself. The answer is the nature's purpose is not always the same as that of ours. For commercial fruit growing, the natural form and shape of the fruit trees have to be modified to optimize light interception, allow proper exposure of fruiting branches, proper aeration to produce good quality fruits. So canopy management right from establishment of plant helps to optimize its production potential with excellent fruit quality. It has been achieved in several commercial fruit crops like grapes, apple, pomegranate, etc. Canopy management assumes special significance, especially under high density planting, and primarily envisages and the directed development and maintenance of canopy structure, comprising of aerial plant parts, namely trunk, branches, shoots, and leaves in relation to its size and shape for enhanced production of quality fruits in a sustainable manner. By making best use of the land and incident solar radiation with due consideration for convenience in orchard operations, modification of microclimate, economic viability and environmental safety. optimum harvesting of the incident solar radiation for maximum sustained production of quality fruits should be the basic consideration of any canopy management strategy. Interception of light by the canopy and its distribution within the canopy are two important aspects in this regard. An understanding of these aspects provides the scientific basis for practical management of orchard canopies with respect to the choice of tree size, number of trees per hectare, and their arrangement and shape. Ideal canopy management should optimize as many of these components as possible for the production and assimilation of foliage and their partitioning into economic yield in a given production environment. Several advances have been made in recent past in understanding the canopy architecture for enhanced production of fruits, especially under high density planting. This webinar has been conceived and planned with this idea that whatever advancements that have been achieved in canopy management, at least in the commercially important horticultural crops, perennial horticulture crops, the University of Horticulture Sciences has come forward to bring a common platform for the experts in this field, so that the knowledge that has been developed in the recent past is shared by the various stakeholders, including the researchers in the universities and ICR system, the student community, which are the future of our nation, and the important stakeholders, the farming. So for the information of the house, the webinar has been registered by more than 700 participants who will be joining in the 2-day session, which includes the ICR scientists, the university scientists, the more important, the farming community at large, and the student community. This is the brief bird eye view with which the webinar has been planned. Now I request Dr. Srinivas to please welcome the gathering in brief. Srinivas, please.
So good morning to all. So respected dignitaries, participants, and expertise who are going to deliver various lectures on this occasion. So it gives me an immense pleasure to welcome the gathering. So today, the College of Horticulture Bidar, which has been Constituent College of University of Horticultural Sciences, Bagalkot. So we have been organizing this canopy architect management in perennial horticulture crops. So on this occasion, so our Honorable Vice Chancellor, so who has been very much supportive in organizing such events, and on our request, he is readily accepted as president of this particular program. So on this occasion, in spite of his busy schedule, he has readily accepted and being a part of this particular program to preside over this program. So on this occasion, I overwhelmingly welcome you, sir, and on behalf of University of Horticultural Sciences, Bagalkot, College of Horticulture, Bidar, and all the participants, I welcome you, sir, for the program, sir.
Thank you very much.
I also welcome eminent personality who have been very much associated with the horticulture sector, has served in the central government for a certain period, and again is back to the ground again. So Dr. B.N. Srinivas Murthy, sir, so Director, Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, Bangalore. So in spite of his busy schedule, he has readily accepted to be part of this canopy architect management in perennial commercial horticulture crops. So who is going to inaugurate this particular program? So I warmly welcome you, sir, for this particular program. And I also welcome this on behalf of University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot, as well as the College of Horticulture, Bidar, and all the participants, sir. I welcome you, sir, for the program.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So I also welcome another personality and who is being a chief guest and keynote addresser for this particular event. And so Dr. M.B. Chetty, sir, so Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Agricultural Sciences, Dharwad, and in spite of his busy schedule, he has readily accepted our invitation and being part of this particular program. I warmly welcome you, sir, for this particular event, and so for gracing this particular occasion, sir. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, everyone.
So I also welcome our Dean, sir, Dr. Ravindra Mulge, sir, so who has been organizing the chairman for this particular event. and who has been very much supportive in organizing such events. So this is the fifth event that we have been taking from our college. And so I also welcome you, sir, for this particular event and giving a lot of advices and suggestions towards organizing this particular program, sir. I welcome you, sir, on this event.
Thank you. Thank you.
I also welcome Dr. M.S. Kulkarni, sir, Director of Education, the University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot, and who have been very much supportive in organizing such events. On this occasion, I also welcome you, sir, for this program on behalf of College of Horticulture, Bidar, University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot, and all the participants from the different parts of the country. So I welcome you, sir. I also welcome Dr. Esa Athani, sir, who has been very much supportive. So that is a Director of Extension, University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot, and who has been very much encouraging in organizing such events. And so I warmly welcome you, sir, for this particular event and for gracing the occasion, sir. I also welcome Dr. D.R. Patil, sir, Director of Research, University of Horticultural Sciences, Bagalkot. So who has been waiting great force for organizing such events. So I also very much welcome you, sir, for gracing this particular event and being a part of this particular inaugural event of this National webinar on Canopy Management in perennial horticulture crops. I also welcome the Dr. T.N. Balamohan, sir, so who has been former Dean of this College of Horticulture, Periakulam, and who has been very much associated with various research activities and this canopy architect management aspects, in particularly in mango, and particularly his expertise will be further utilized during our technical sessions. I also welcome you, sir, for being a part of this program and readily accepting our invitation. And I also welcome this Dr. Suresh Patil, sir, so College of Dean, College of Agriculture, Kalburgi, so who has been very much actively participative since from last years on various events that's being organized by our college again, and who has been very much suggestive in improvisation of the various events. So on this occasion, I also welcome you, sir, for being part of this particular event, sir. I also welcome Dr. Vasudev, sir. So again, further in this technical session, he is going to deliver this lecture on this light interception, particularly under the high density planting system. And so he's presently working as a professor and head of forest biology from College of Forestry, Sirsi. I welcome you, sir, for this particular event, sir. I also welcome this various committees, particularly technical committees members, particularly advisory committee members, conveners, and technical committees of this particular webinar, and organizing secretaries and co-organizing secretaries for their valuable support and are being associated in successful organizing this particular event, sir. I welcome you all, sir. Again, I also welcome all the participants from the different parts of the country. Over and 877 participants have been registered for this particular event, comprising this scientists, the extension workers, students, farmers of different parts of the country. So I also welcome you all for this particular inaugural session of this particular national level webinar, sir. Once again, I also welcome all the faculty members of College of Horticulture, Bidar, and University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot, for being part of this inaugural session and gracing this particular. Once again, I welcome everyone, one and all, for being part of this inaugural session, and definitely, so we'll carry the full deliberations in the future technical sessions. So thank you, one and all, for this opportunity. Thank you all, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Srinivas, for updating the number of admissions that have been made in this webinar. More than 800. That's a good strength. Without wasting much time, I request now Pooja, student of College of Horticulture, to invoke the gods with a brief prayer. Pooja, please. You're online, Pooja.
Okay, sir.
Please.
I'm ready.
Yes, please invoke the God by singing a small invocation song.
Devi Pure Sharade Varade Devi Pure Sharade Varade Sangeeta Sahitya Kala Pramode Sangeeta Sahitya Kala Pramode Devi Pure Sharade Varade Devi Pure Sharade Varade Brahmanarani Lokadavani Brahmanarani Lokadavani Veena-pani Kalyani Veena-pani Kalyani Devi Saraswati Vidya Sumati Devi Saraswati Vidya Sumati Mangalamurti Satkirti Mangalamurti Satkirti Devi Pure Sharade Varade Devi Pure Sharade Varade Sangeeta Sahitya Kala Pramode Sangeeta Sahitya Kala Pramode Devi Pure Sharade Varade Devi Pure Shara Devi Pure Shara Devi Pure Sharade Varade.
Thank you, Pooja, for invoking the God for the success of this webinar, online webinar. Now I request Dr. BNS Murthy sir to kindly inaugurate the national webinar on canopy architecture management of perennial commercial horticulture crops by curtain raising. I request you, sir, to kindly inaugurate the function.
Good morning. Thanks.
Sir, yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you
Very much, sir, for inaugurating the national webinar on this occasion. The photograph is of an iconic mango plant, which we will be discussing a lot in the coming session. Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. BNS Murthy, sir, Director, Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, Bangalore, to give his inaugural address. Sir, please.
You can unshare on the screen.
ಈಗಿನಿಂದ 1000 ಬರಿದ್ರೆ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಎಷ್ಟಾಗ್ತದೆ ಇದು ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ನಾಗ ಬಿಡಾಕ್ ಬರ್ತೈತೆ ಈಗ ಎಷ್ಟ ರೊಕ್ಕನಿಂದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅವ್ರೇನು ಬಡ್ಡಿ ಕೊಡಲ್ಲ ಏನಿಲ್ಲ.
Please all others go on mute. Mute others.
Yes, sir.
If they don't mute you, host you can mute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Host can please mute others. Very good morning to all of you. Most respected Vice Chancellors, two Vice Chancellors, luminaries we can see on the screen today. On Dr. Indresh, the Vice Chancellor, University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot, and Dr. M.B. Chetty was my close friend who was in Delhi, and he has moved back to Dharwad, and he has taken a very prestigious position. And also, although he is busy in this today's this World Bank program, he has joined us. And other luminaries, my dear farmers, because of you, we are having this particular program. And Dr. Atani, my beloved classmate, Ravindra Mulge, and he is one of the architects in identifying this particular topic and making it possible to have a successful registration of over 872 participants. And MS Kulkarniji, Director of Extension, Director of Education, sorry, Dr. D.R. Patil, Director of Research, other distinguished officers of University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot, and I see the scientists from University of other universities also here, and also the National NRC grapes, some scientists, resource persons, Suresh Patil from Dean Kalburgi, and many other luminaries. And the most interesting is the farmers who are very much interested. ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಈ ಪರ್ಟಿಕ್ಯುಲರ್ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮಕ್ಕೆ ಬಹಳ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಕೆನಪಿ ಆರ್ಕಿಟೆಕ್ಚರ್ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ಮೆಂಟ್ ಇನ್ ಪೆರಿನಿಯಲ್ ಕಮರ್ಷಿಯಲ್ ಹಾರ್ಟಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಕ್ರಾಪ್ಸ್, ಈ 2 ದಿನದ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಕೂಡ ಬಹಳ ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಬಹಳಷ್ಟು ಜನರು ಇದರ ಜೋಡಣೆ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ತಮಗೆಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಸ್ವಾಗತ ಸುಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಈ ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮದ ಸದುಪಯೋಗಗಳನ್ನು ತಾವು ಪಡೆಯಬೇಕೆಂದು ನಾನು ಕೋರಿಕೊಳ್ಳುತ್ತೇನೆ. ನಾನು ಕನ್ನಡ ಮತ್ತು ಇಂಗ್ಲಿಷ್ ಎರಡರಲ್ಲೂ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಾ ನನ್ನ ಈ particular Canopy Architecture National Level webinar, I am happy to inaugurate this one. In this particular session, we are having the inaugural session. Afterwards, there will be technical session. This is a 2-day program, and I request all of you to actively participate and also utilize this one. The Canopy Architecture starts with before planting the material in the field. You will be surprised. Why? Canopy architecture is a combination of G into E, genetics and environment. And in this aspect, genetic part, that is the selection of the planting material, is very, very important. And as we are dealing with most of the perennial horticulture crops, the mistakes that we commit in the beginning, it will be very difficult to correct in the later stages. The genetics part comes very important, as most of these horticulture crops, although earlier they used to be seedling in origin, we are looking for grafted plants with a commercial entrepreneurship horticulture. To this extent, selection of rootstocks is very, very important, apart from some of the other crops where rootstocks is not possible, like banana and other things. Banana, papaya also, of course, some initiatives are going on. But the selection of rootstock is also very important when we look for the canopy architecture. This why I am telling is, now the days are gone wherein we used to plant very widely. The planting distance was about 30 feet or 40 feet. And we are looking for high density orcharding and getting the crop in the first 3 to 4 years, starting from 3 to 4 years, and having that economic year bearing up to 20 or maximum 25 years and go for replanting. This is the nature that has come into the practice, as the cost of inputs have also increased. So any mistakes that one commits in the beginning of selection of the quality planting material is going to be a disaster. So one has to look for a good quality planting material. Many of these public institutions are having a major role in supplying the planting material, although it may not be the mandate of the particular institutions, but they should ensure from the nurserymen to give the farmers the quality planting material. To this effect, Government of India has also brought in a national nursery portal, so that all the accredited nurseries are registered here, and also the consumers also, like farmers or even the institutions, can register here to get the planting material from the nurserymen. So next comes one we planted. There are 2 types of canopy management. One is which plants which are already in the existing in the field. Another is when you're starting to grow the plants, that is in new plantations. So when the plants are already in the field, there are quite a few which are non-productive, in the sense we need to go for rejuvenation. Most of the plants which require rejuvenation are from seedling origin. So there is a possibility that going for top working, many of the other speakers, especially Dr. Balamohan, may speak about this top working. In crops like mango, they have perfected the technology, and it is also remunerative also in the long run. So many of those plants which are unimaginable, unmanageable for maintenance, especially these kind of plantations we can see in many coastal areas and also northern parts of the country, where the mango plants or even lychee plants grow to an extent of about 30 to 40 feet, where the present day sprayers, although they can reach to that level, to control pest and diseases is very difficult. So there is a possibility of rejuvenation. When you go for rejuvenation, it is very difficult for the farmers to be convinced why it is required, how it's going to be productive like that. Always there is a provision in the ministry guidelines under ministry MIDH program, which I was looking after. There is a monetary benefit for people who are going for rejuvenation. In the first 3 years of rejuvenation, they will be getting some funds for rejuvenation, about 20% of the total cost of establishment of the garden, they will be getting as a financial assistance. Added to that, since many of these trees are very old and it's already grown to a certain extent, whatever the wood that they are going to get from rejuvenation part, that they can sell and utilize for the initial 3 years of crop loss. Plus, there is another advantage. Since the gardens are, the orchards are open, they can go for intercrops, like a few of the annual crops, and get some monetary benefit when there is a loss in the amount that they are going to get till the rejuvenated plants come to bearing. These are some of the advantages in rejuvenation. And at the same time, when we are going for a new orchard, the training part is most important. What type of training we need to go, especially when you are looking for high density orcharding, that should give way for mechanization. In the days of labor shortage, the planting orientation and also planting type is also very important. There are several methods of planting, systems of planting available, as we have studied in our college days. But one has to choose a right one so that mechanization is also possible. And as you see, in the initial remarks, the productivity came into picture. 11 tons versus 22 tons in different parts of the globe. Why it is happening? Our productivity is also very good. It need not be 11 tons. What we are mentioning as productivity is the marketable yield. The marketable yield is one thing, and the total bio productivity is another thing. Marketable yield is one thing that we have taken into consideration for calculating the productivity. The marketing yield consists of different grades, A, B, C, like that. When it comes to different fruit crops, especially commercial fruit crops, the A grade fruits, which are depending on the classification or grading, they fetch almost like twice the price of C grade fruits. So within the production, what we are going to produce, we need to go for maximizing the A class fruits. That way, the farmer's income also can be increased. The horticulture crops are gaining very much popularity, as the doubling of farmers' income report also said that diversifying our area from little of 2 to 3% from traditional paddy and wheat crops, although they are also the major crops of Karnataka, there is a possibility that increasing the income of the farmers to almost like 3 to 4 times what he is getting. So there is a potential in horticulture crops. And there are Government of India schemes are also available, starting from the supply of planting material till the marketing, and also the recent initiatives of Government of India in terms of ODOP. There are several, out of 30 different districts, 20 districts have been identified for horticulture crops. There is a good potential for identifying and going for this kind of crops. Next comes looking for the scientific way of canopy management. Why at all canopy management is required? So one is to increase the productivity, at the same time manageable, and at the same time decreasing the cost of production. These are some of the things that we can look into when it comes to canopy management. Each crop requires a different types of canopy management, depending on its stature, structure. And there is some crops like grapes or even passion fruit that need to be given a particular orientation to harness the sufficient sunlight, which is one of the key inputs for increasing the productivity. And at the same time, we should see that the canopy is also sufficient enough to support the production, whatever the fruits that we are going to retain. Some crops like sapota may not require that kind of that much of intervention, but at the same time, crops like grapes, pomegranate, they require the intermittent intervention. With the canopy management, that is through the training and pruning practices, it is possible to change or shift the production time also. So in crops like citrus and pomegranate, and also in guava, there is a possibility of having the crops 3 different times of a year, depending on the region and also the climate available. So there is Ambe Bahar, Mrug Bahar, and Ast Bahar. So there is a provision to make the produce available to the market when it is required. The days are gone when we are producing what we have produced to sell it to the market. Now we have to produce what the market demands. To this extent, the operations that we look into the canopy management becomes very, very critical, and also it is one of the major practice. And there are several things that go into the management of canopy architecture. There is a lot of science and physiology behind this one. Many of the speakers who are listed are having experience of more than 20-30 years of this one. They will give, depending on the crop, what is required, what are the strengths and weaknesses for different canopy management practices, what is to be done, and what are the mistakes that you are not supposed to do in the beginning of the orchard establishment, and what are the practices. The high density orcharding is one of the concepts that have come into practice in recent days. And there is a lot of funds are also available. They are encouraging planting material for this kind of operations are expensive because they have to accommodate more number of plants per unit area. Farmers can make use of the schemes that are available in the government of India and also state government and go for this kind of planting and increase the production and produce what the market requires and not what you can produce to sell it to the market. And again, marketing is also a very important thing. That is not the topic of today. In some other occasions, I will see and talk to some of the farmers. What are the interventions that the government of India schemes are available for increasing the marketing? And this kind of a lot of programs are available, but many of our farmers are not aware of how to utilize these funds and what is the. With these few remarks, I thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity to inaugurate this particular webinar on canopy architecture management in perennial commercial horticulture crops for today, 2 days program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your inaugural address. On behalf of Horticulture University, we wholeheartedly thank you for giving this inaugural address. Without taking much time, I request my favorite teacher, Dr. M.B. Chetty, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor of US Harvard, to a great physiologist and a person with vast experience. I request you, sir, to give the keynote address on this national webinar, please, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Jolgikar. Respected Director, IHR, and former Commissioner Horticulture, and my good friend, Dr. Srinivas Murthy, who is the inaugurator of this national webinar, and the Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot, Dr. Indiresh, the Director of Education, Dr. Kulkarni, Director of Research, Dr. Patil, the Director of Extension, Dr. Athani, and mainly the organizer of this national webinar, and the Dean of College of Horticulture, Bidar, Dr. Ravindra Mulge, and my students and friends and supporters, I can say, Dr. Jolgikar, Dr. Ashok Suryanshi, and the person who welcomed all of us, Dr. Srinivas, who is also one of the organizing secretaries, and all the participants of this national webinar, staff, students, not only from UHS Bagalkot, from other parts of the state and the country. I was told that 850 have participated. It is a really wonderful thing, but I am only seeing 300 participants on screen. Maybe it is the limitation of Zoom or whatever it is, I don't know, but it's good that many people are participating in this webinar, because this clearly shows that the importance which horticulture has gained over the last few years, particularly in the last 1 decade, I can say. If you look at the production, because we never used to count horticulture production separately earlier, it was included in the agricultural production. But now, horticulture production, we are counting separately. I think Dr. Murthy will agree with me that horticulture production is 329 million tons, much ahead of the agricultural crop production, which is less than 300 million tons. So that shows the importance of horticulture crops. Maybe looking to that importance of horticulture crops, keeping aside other political equations, the horticulture university.
Please, others gone mute.
Harshavardhan, please mute. Harshavardhan. Sir, you are muted. Shetty sir, you are muted.
The host has muted me, and I did not mute, and the host muted me. Okay, I have unmuted. Fine. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you. So if you look at the scenario of horticulture, particularly in state like Karnataka, because we can proudly say that even in Karnataka, we produce many very important horticulture crops like grapes, pomegranate, which are being exported, and even the mango. So a lot of mango is being cultivated in Karnataka, apart from some of the northern states like Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. But mango is also one of the major crops of the state. So considering the importance of horticulture crops from the point of farmers and also from the point of consumers, particularly with respect to human health, because when you think of the human health, maintaining a good health of a person, one has to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. The kind of importance which we have attached for horticulture crops is immense, and it is still increasing. We can really proudly say that horticulture is very, very important. In fact, I don't know, it may not be an exaggeration to tell. I was fascinated for horticulture when I was an undergraduate student at US, at College of Agriculture, Dharwad. I wanted to do horticulture MSc. I gave my application to one of my friends for filling up of the choices of subjects, my senior. I went home during the vacation. But he was really concerned. He was really well-wisher. My senior, who is settled in US. So instead of writing horticulture, he wrote crop physiology, because that was a new subject which we had introduced in 1978. So when I came back and I had prepared for horticulture MSc and for writing the exam. But when I came back, my name was listed in physiology. Then I scolded him, what the nonsense you have done? Because I had so much of interest in horticulture. If he had not written physiology, probably I would have been an horticulturist today. But doesn't matter. But still, I continued my interest in horticulture, because the most of the problems I gave it to my MSc and PhD students were on horticulture crops like carrot, many other horticulture, chili. Like I gave many of the problems on horticulture crops, because I consider, compared to field crops, the horticulture research in physiological research in horticulture crops is not explored to an extent which it should have been explored. Like there are many crops, because thousands, I can say thousands of crops, horticulture crops, like fruits, vegetables, medicinal and aromatic plants, plantation crops, spices and condiments, so many things are there. So that's why there is a vast scope for horticulture. And the topic which you have selected is canopy architecture management in perennial commercial horticulture crops. Both Dr. Joglikar in his opening remarks, giving introductory remarks of this webinar, also spoke on the importance of canopy management in horticulture crops. And our friend and the director IHR, Dr. Murthy, gave the overview of the horticulture, right from planting, grafting to the harvesting, marketing, quality aspects, post-harvested procedures, many things Dr. Murthy also spoke. But as a physiologist, I can say that the canopy management, not only in horticulture crops, in any crop is very, very important from the point of better growth, better productivity, and the quality, ensuring the quality. That is what I feel is very, very important. Canopy management is very important. Particularly this canopy management in a big trees, Like you go to villages, because I'm from a village. When you go to villages or when you go to any orchards, but now the concept of high density planting, which Dr. Murthy was mentioning, the concept of high density planting has come in oak, because people are, getting aware of we should not waste the land, because land is very precious and we cannot afford to waste the land and also resources. Wasting land means it is wasting resources also, like irrigation water, fertilizers, pesticides, hormones, and many of the things. People are going for high density planting these days. But in the earlier days, if you look at 3-4 decades back, what was the situation of most of the crops? Like I give the classic example of mango, because mango is one of the important crops of the state. Mango, if you go to villages, in 1 acre, you will find only one tree of mango. That tree has occupied entire 1 acre of the field. And under that, it is like an umbrella. Nothing can be grown because it is so much of shade. Nothing can be grown. Even the crops which require less light intensity also cannot be cultivated, like horse gram. Most of the times you see in the villages, under the mango tree, you grow, horse gram. These kind of crops or some millets, they are grown. Even it is difficult to grow. And what is the productivity of that tree, and how many fruits it produces? In 1 acre, you hardly, maximum, if it is a highly potential tree, it cannot produce more than 500 fruits. That I have seen. Normally, it is 100 to 200 fruits only it produces. At the maximum, it can produce 500 fruits. Is it worthwhile to maintain that tree, or we have to think something else? That's why all these things have come into effect. Canopy management in crops like chiku, in crops like mango, in burr, in guava, in grapes, and pomegranate. The canopy management has assumed a lot of significance, a lot of importance. And probably as horticulturists, you will agree with me, all of you will agree with me, that Dr. B.S. KKV, Konkan Vidyapith, that Dapoli, they have done really wonderful work in mango. Mango orchards, if you see thousands and thousands of mango trees. And I was, discussing with the Vice Chancellor of Dapoli. He was mentioning, not now, about a decade back when Dr. Magar was the Vice Chancellor. I was just asking him, sir, what is the revenue you get for sale of mango and cashew, because which are the most important crops in Dapoli region, in Konkan region. He said that we are selling worth 10 crores grafts of mango and cashew. Only their major earning is from mango and cashew seedlings, cashew grafts. Wherever we have the plantation of mango, it is mainly from the Konkan region or Ratnagiri or from Dapoli University. So canopy management, because two of my students, Dr. Burinkar and Dr. Mane, they worked on the post-harvest physiology of mango, particularly with respect to alternate bearing in mango and also spongy tissue formation in mango. So during that time, we also thought something about the canopy management in mango, how best we can manage the canopy, and how we can make the plants to bear more fruits with less foliage. The advantage of a less foliage is, again, as I mentioned, that it is a saving of the resources, maybe in terms of nutrients or in terms of irrigation water, which is again becoming a very limiting factor in agriculture crop production or horticulture crop production. It is becoming a limiting factor. So that's why we need to go for the canopy management. And what are the advantages of canopy management? Canopy management, it is one thing is we are saving a lot of resources. Then we are also, enhancing the productivity. As an experiment here in Dharwad, we have in our orchard 800 mango trees. In US campus, we have 800 mango trees. And all these trees are planted not less than 50 to 60 years back. Because even I saw these trees when I was an undergraduate student in 1974 to 78. So that time also the bearing was wonderful. But now these trees hardly bear less than 100 fruits per plant. So after seeing Dapoli, then I also invited the experts from Dapoli and also sent our horticulturists to Dapoli for getting a training of pruning of the trees and canopy management of mangoes. So as an experiment, we went in for the rejuvenation of about 100 trees in the old orchard. And these 100 trees, out of 100 trees rejuvenation, only one tree has failed Almost 99 trees are sprouted, and probably in the next 3 years, they will become the new trees. So that is what is really. Had we gone for the canopy management in the earlier stages, maybe a couple of decades back, probably we need not have to think of rejuvenation, because these are the two different aspects. One is the canopy management, one is the rejuvenation of the trees. So that is why the most important thing of the canopy management is penetration of light into the canopy. The whole canopy should be well lit. We call in physiology that open canopy and closed canopy. What kind of, for crops to be more productive, whether it is horticulture crops or agriculture crops, the crops to be productive, what kind of a canopy should be there? It should be a closed canopy. In the sense, the canopy, the arrangement of the leaves in the canopy is such that no light should fall on the ground. Every sunlight, whatever the sunlight which is being received on the earth's surface, has to be intercepted by the canopy. That is what is called as canopy management. The canopy is well arranged in such a way that the orientation of the leaves. And if you want to go for canopy management in any of these trees, like in mango, like in chiku, like in pear or guava, we have to arrange, or we have to go in such a way, pruning of the twigs or the pruning of the branches in such a way that the entire canopy is exposed to the sunlight. That's very, very important. And another important is, if the canopy is open, then if there is a crowding of the leaves, of the microclimate of the canopy is changed, that it leads to infestation of diseases and insects. If the canopy is exposed to the sunlight, certainly the infestation of diseases and insects will be less. That is another advantage of canopy management in big trees. And again, we go in for planting of the trees. In what direction we have to plant? East, west, south, or north? And it has certain specification for this, because it depends on, suppose an east-west row orientation results in more shading as compared to the western and southern orientation of the trees. That's why while planting of these trees, because you know that it's not like an annual crop, like sorghum or maize or groundnut, you plant, and in 3 to 4 months the crop is harvested. But that doesn't happen with the perennial crops, horticulture crops. They remain for 100 years, maybe more than 100 years. There are trees, I think more than 100 years. If you go to Vengurla Research Station, you find such old trees, maybe more than 100 years trees, but still they are productive because they have been managing the canopy. The KKV Dapoli, they have developed expertise in the canopy management aspects, and we have to learn from such experiments, because over a period of time, over a period of decades, they have experimented and they have shown that the canopy management results in better quality fruits and also better productivity of the trees. We should be really concerned about the productivity of the trees. Otherwise, just for shade sake or just for namesake, we should not maintain these trees, because land, as I mentioned, is very, very costly and very, very expensive, and we have to be really concerned about it. There are certain basic principles in the canopy management. I mentioned that one of the basic principles in the canopy management is maximization of the utilization of light. Maximum light has to be utilized. Then avoidance of build-up of microclimate congenial for disease and pest infestation, which also I mentioned. Then convenience in carrying out the cultural practices, because it should be very convenient, and the interculturing operations. And in between the crops, we can take up some short duration and low statured crops in between these plantation crops, and maximizing productivity with quality of fruit production, maybe whether it is chiku or mango or whatever may be the crop, and economy in obtaining the required canopy architecture. That's what is important. I will give another example where I visited the chiku orchard near Kaladigi, near Bagalkot, that Kaladigi. The farmers of that area, they took seedlings from our university, that DSH1 and DSH2 support hybrids, which were released about 2.5, 3 decades back. So they planted, and for almost 20 years, they took a wonderful yield from the orchards. But in the last 1 decade, that orchard has become non-productive. In the sense, it's not that the plants are unhealthy. Plants are very, very healthy, and in each tree, that mango tree, chiku tree, you will find 1 gunny bag of flowers. So everything is shed. Flower shedding is a major problem in that chiku, in the chiku plantation. So I called some experts from again Dapoli about a decade back when I was the director of extension in 2013-14. Then I took a team of horticulturists from University of Agriculture Sciences, Dharwad, and also the experts from Dapoli. We visited those farms. Then we suggested to them, you are not getting the yield, chiku yield, because the canopy is overcrowded. Canopy is overcrowded in such a way that you just cannot, not even 1 micro meter of light enters into that canopy. That is the level of canopy. Looking at the tree, we just felt that we have to certainly go in for pruning of these certain branches and opening of the canopy. Then we suggested, they said the farmers were very much interested in taking what is subsidy from the government. But then they asked us to recommend like that. They said, no, we cannot recommend. We cannot recommend to the government for give subsidy for this farmer. We can suggest you and we guarantee you in next year, certainly your crop yield will definitely double or triple or go for 4 to 5 times higher. You open this canopy and if you don't get it, we are responsible for this. They wanted to sue the university because this planting material was supplied by the university, and because of the improper canopy management, they were not getting any benefit. So ultimately they wanted to demolish that crop and then go in for some other crop, but they wanted to claim. And ultimately it would have fallen on US Dharwad compensation. The government would have asked that you have provided the planting material. They will not bother what benefit they got the last 20-25 years. They would not have bothered about it. But now they are not getting the profit. So we suggested to them. So we guided them about the canopy management in case of chiku. That's why this canopy management is very, very important, irrespective of any perennial crops, whether it is mango, whether it is apple. And I will give another example of apple. When I visited Srinagar, when I visited a Temperate Research Institute in Srinagar, they were working mainly on almonds. They're working on apple. I was really surprised to see the number of apples in a tree, because it is just because of the training. Like we have the training in the vineyards in case of grapes, because we know in grapes also we have different pruning and training methods, and they have adopted in a new training method in case of apple. We could see hundreds of apples in a small, because more number of fruits than number of leaves. I was really surprised. And this device was developed by Dr. Nazir Ahmad, who was the director of Temperate Crops Research Institute, and then he was the vice chancellor of SCOST Srinagar. So I was really happy to see the apple plantations, and it is again the canopy management. He said that the major theme of getting in higher number of fruits and the quality of fruits is how best we can train the plants, because that is very, very important. Whether it is a training, whether it is a pruning, or it's a cutting of the branches, whatever it is, but canopy management is very, very important. So any horticulture crops, particularly tree crops, of course, it's not that canopy management is not important in the vegetable crops. Even canopy management is important in the vegetable crops also, because we have different type of canopies. Like probably most of you are exposed to physiology courses, the teachers and the students who are participating in this webinar, like we have different types of canopies: erectophilous canopy, planophilous canopy, plagiophilous canopy, and all kinds of canopy. This indicates about the orientation of the leaves within the canopy. The orientation of the leaves within the canopy is in such a way that there should not be overlapping of the leaves. It should not lead to a situation of open canopy. It should lead to a situation of closed canopy. That means it should be like an umbrella. When you open an umbrella, the light falls on every part of the umbrella uniformly. That is the type of canopy which we need to maintain. For each crop, there are different methods of pruning, there are different methods of training, there are different methods of opening of the canopy, which I think our experts will be dealing with all these things in this 2 days national webinar. Probably, I believe that the organizers have assigned this job crop-wise to different experts, those who have the experience of working on a particular crop, how best you can maximize the crop production and also productivity by better canopy management. So that's why I consider that this canopy management is a very, very important thing in the irrespective of whether it is horticulture crops, agriculture crops, vegetables, or even plantation crops, or medicinal and aromatic plants, spices and condiments, whatever it is. So in this direction, I'm really glad. I will not take much of your time. Otherwise, I can speak on this canopy management in length. And there are many issues which I have listed, crop-wise canopy management, which I think I should leave this to the floor open to the experts. They can speak on canopy management in different crops like guava, burr, pomegranate, chiku, and mango. So these are few things which instantly occur to my mind. What is the relevance of canopy management? Why this canopy management is important? How best we can go for the canopy management for getting the maximum productivity. And in horticulture crops, it is not just the productivity which is important. It is the quality which is also very, very important. We have to be really concerned about the quality fruit production along with the maximization of the fruit and vegetable production. So with this, I thank the organizers, especially Dr. Ravindra Mulge, Dr. Jolgikar, Dr. Ashok Suryavanshi, for giving me an opportunity to express some of my views as a keynote speaker in this two-day national webinar. And I do hope that this webinar is going to be most useful, particularly to the farming community. I was told that a lot of farmers are also appearing in this webinar, and this will certainly help them to get the maximum benefits by growing horticulture crops. And also thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. Indaresh, and the Director of the IHR, Dr. Srinivas Murthy, and all my other colleagues from UHS Bagalkot for being present on this occasion. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, sir. You being a physiologist, but have spoken like a horticulturist with a strong physiology background. It's always a pleasure to listen to you, sir. Thank you very much for enlightening the people who are gathered in this webinar, not only about the physiological aspects, but in depth about the horticultural aspects, and sharing your vast experiences on sapota, mango, and array of horticultural crops. Thank you very much for your keynote address, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jolgikar.
For the participants of the webinar, just to narrate the speakers of the two-day session, the day will start with at 11 a.m. sharply by an address by Dr. Vasudevan, a forest biologist, light inception and photosynthesis of yield on perennial horticulture crops, implications to canopy management. It will be a wonderful lecture by him. And the second lecture will be canopy architecture management in commercial cultivation in mango. These are the two lectures which will be delivered in the first session of the morning. Now, coming back to the inaugural address, now I request the president of the session, Dr. K.M. Indraj, sir, Honorable Vice Chancellor, to give his presidential remarks, sir. I request Honorable Vice Chancellor.
1 minute.
Very good morning to everybody who are participating in this 2 days national webinar on canopy management. I am audible, Dr. Praveen?
Yes, sir, you are clear.
Okay. Distinguished guests who are participating in this 2 days webinar on canopy architecture management in perennial commercial horticulture crops. For the inaugural session, Dr. B.N.S. Murthy, Director, IHR, and also the former Commissioner, Horticulture Commissioner, Government of India. Honorable Vice Chancellor of UAS, the Harvard, Dr. M.B. Chetty, and my own colleagues from the university, Dr. M.S. Kulkarni, Director of Education, Dr. D.R. Patil, Director of Research, Dr. S.I. Ethne, Director of Extension, and the organizing chairman of this national webinar, Dr. Ravindra Mulge, and his team of organizing committee headed by Dr. Praveen Joglekar, Dr. Ashok Suryavanshi, Dr. Srinivas, and all the faculty members of the College of Horticulture, Dean, distinguished guests of honor for the 2 days session. which are drawn from various ICN institutes and agriculture universities from different states of the country, who are experts like Dr. Vasudev, Dr. Balamohan, Dr. Ram Teki, Vinay Supe, Dr. Dinakar Adiga, Dr. Gundappa, Dr. P.K. Sukla, and all the deans of the Constant College of the UHS Bagalkot, and all the faculty members from the Faculty of Animal Science, Crop Physiology, and other allied sciences from the university, and the students, especially the PG students, and also the ನನ್ನ ನೆಚ್ಚಿನ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೈತ ಬಾಂಧವರೇ, ಈ ಒಂದು ಕಾರ್ಯಕ್ರಮ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಆಲ್ ಅಟ್ ದಿ ಔಟ್ಸೆಟ್ ಐ ಕಾಂಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟ್ the Dean, Dr. Ravindra Mulge, and his faculty members from the College of Horticulture for organizing this very important national webinar, 2 days webinar. In fact, this College of Horticulture Bidar is in the forefront in organizing many national webinars. During last year also, even though there is a COVID problem was there, they organized 4 or 5 national webinars on different aspects of horticulture crops. In fact, they also organized 21 days training program on entomology and other allied disciplines also. This year also, even though the COVID situation is there, they have taken a lead in organizing this 2 days national webinar on very important topic for the farmers as well as for the academicians. So I once again compliment the Dean and the team of organizing committee members of this webinar. In fact, Dr. BNS Murthy and Dr. Chetty, in his inaugural remarks, they have highlighted the importance of canopy management or maintenance of canopy architecture in the perennial horticulture crops. It may be fruits or plantation crops or some perennial vegetables, and its importance in enhancing the production as well as productivity of the trees. And they are also given the highlights of how this photosynthetic activity plays an important role, which is highly correlated with the canopy structure of the plant, and also the importance of root stocks in maintaining the good framework of the plants, the role of training and pruning in some of the important commercial fruit crops, as we have seen in many of the farmers' fields. Nowadays, we are going for high density planting, ultra high density planting, mainly with the objective of enhancing the production per unit area by having maximum number of plant populations. But maybe for the first 8-10 years, you may get highest yield or highest production per unit area because of the more population. But once the tree reaches its canopy architecture, maybe after 8 or 10 years, there will be overlapping of branches between the trees because of the closer spacing. It leads to a lot of problems. There will be very poor light interception. Because of that, the photosynthetic activity will come down. So there is a less scope for infiltration of photosynthetically active radiations, which is the main thing, especially in the tropical fruits. The light intensity is very important. So because of that, the productivity will come down. Sometimes there will be irregular flowering, and there may be a change in the variations in the vegetative growth and reproductive growth. And there may be incidence of outbreak of pests and diseases, especially the shoot borers or stem borers. And there are a lot of complications if the canopy is not properly maintained. If you don't do the canopy management, we have been seeing especially in mango, then in cashew, annonaceous fruits, and sapota, even in guava also. Unless we resort to canopy management by way of training and pruning, it is very difficult to improve the productivity of the trees. So in this context, the organizing of this 2 days webinar on canopy architecture management in perennial horticulture crops is very relevant, and it is going to open new vista about the technologies available in this field. It's a very important and very interesting subject. And in this program, there are very distinguished speakers who are participating from different ICR institutes, and also the experienced senior scientists from the Tamil Nadu Agriculture University and our own university, and also from other agriculture universities in Karnataka. So I wish this 2 days program, very exhaustive sessions have been planned, and it is having a very good practical application for the academicians as well as for the farmers. And I wish this 2 days national webinar on canopy management in perennial horticulture grass is going to be very successful, and definitely it is going to be fruitful, especially for the farmers. ಈ ಒಂದು ನ್ಯಾಷನಲ್ ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿರುವಂತ ಪ್ರಗತಿಪರ ರೈತರು, ಅದರಲ್ಲೂ ಸಹ ತೋಟಗಾರಿಕೆ ಬೆಳೆಗಾರರಿಗೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ನಿಂದ ಅನೇಕ ಈ ಒಂದು ಕ್ಯಾನೋಪಿಯನ್ನು ಹೇಗೆ ಮ್ಯಾನೇಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಹೈ ಡೆನ್ಸಿಟಿ ಪ್ಲಾಂಟಿಂಗ್ ಹೋದಾಗ ಏನೇನು ಕಲ್ಚರಲ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್, ಗುಡ್ ಅಗ್ರಿಕಲ್ಚರ್ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಫಾಲೋ ಮಾಡೋದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ರೈತರಿಗೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಅನುಕೂಲ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. ಅವರು ಈ ಒಂದು ಸೆಮಿನಾರ್ ನಲ್ಲಿ ಸಕ್ರಿಯವಾಗಿ ಭಾಗವಹಿಸಿ ಈ ಒಂದು ಸೆಮಿನಾರ್ ನ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಯೋಜನ ಪಡ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿ ಇನ್ನೊಮ್ಮೆ ಈ ಒಂದು ವೆಬಿನಾರ್ ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಇನಾಗ್ರೇಷನ್ ಸೆಷನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಈಗ ನಮ್ಮ ವಿಶ್ವವಿದ್ಯಾಲಯದ ಎಲ್ಲ ಪ್ರಾಧ್ಯಾಪಕರು, ಶಿಕ್ಷಕರು ಮತ್ತು ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಚೆಟ್ಟಿ ಅವರು, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ BNS ಮೂರ್ತಿ ಮತ್ತೆ ಇತರೆ ಗಣ್ಯರು ಈಗಾಗಲೇ ಇದ್ರ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಿನ ವಿವರಗಳನ್ನ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ನಾನು I will not take much of the time because the technical session will start shortly. I wish and also compliment the faculty members, dean and faculty members from the College of Horticulture for organizing this seminar, and I wish this is going to be a very fruitful program. Thank you all for giving me an opportunity to share my views in the inaugural session of the first day of the program. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for your presidential remark highlighting about the architecture of this whole webinar that has been planned to the gathered audience. I also take this opportunity and inform to the House that two of the distinguished speakers in the afternoon session, Dr. S.T. Ramteke, Principal Scientist, Plant Physiology from ICAR, NRC Pune, is also with us on this occasion. I welcome you, sir, Dr. Ramteke, sir. And I also take this opportunity to welcome another distinguished speaker of the afternoon session, a very, very important session on canopy management and crop regulation in pomegranate, Dr. Vinay Supe, who is ADR of Ganesh Kind, the iconic fruit research station, Ganesh Kind Fruit Research Station, Pune. I also welcome him, sir, on this occasion. Now I also briefly request our Director of Extension, Dr. S.I. Athani, sir, who is also a pomologist and has worked on canopy management in mango, to just briefly spell out few words and give us the guidance, sir. Dr. S.I. Athani, sir, please. Sir, kindly unmute yourself, sir.
Okay.
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Okay. Respected Director of Indian Institute of Horticulture Research, Bangalore, Dr. BNS Murthy, Chief Guest of this national webinar, Honorable Vice Chancellor of University of Agricultural Sciences, Dr. D. Chetty, sir. Then President of this webinar, our own Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. K. Midresh, sir. Guests and the officers of the university, Dr. M.S. Kulkarni, Director of Education, Dr. D.R. Patil, Director of Research, Organizing Chairman, Dr. Ravindra Mudge, Dean of this college also. Then the organizing secretaries, Dr. Praveen Jodgekar, Dr. Arun Ashok Suryavanshi and Srinivas, and the speakers from the different institutes and universities, Dr. Balamohan from Tamil Nadu, Dr. Vasudev, Dr. Supe, Dr. Ramteke, Dr. Dinakar Adiga, and many more who are going to speak much more things on this topic, canopy architecture management in perennial horticulture crops. And also Dr. Suresh Patil, who is Dean of College of Agriculture, Kalburgi. And there are, I think, more than 800 delegates who have joined across the state. So this national webinar, it is an immense pleasure that under the leadership of Dr. Ravindra Mudge, who is Dean of this college, is conducting so many webinars for the benefit of the farmers as well as the scientists. The topic selected for the webinar is more appropriate because the land under the cultivation is shrinking because of the urbanization and industrialization, and a day will come that we may not find the lands for the cultivation. Under this situation, it is the only high density planting which come to rescue, for which canopy management is a must. So this technology have been proved in many horticultural crops, especially in fruit crops like the tomato orcharding in apple, then mango, as well as this guava. So this technology can be adopted many more crops, especially the perennial crops like pomegranate and other things. So I do not want to take much of the time because the Honorable Director of the IHR, Dr. Srinivas Murthy, and Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. M.B. Chetty sir, and our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. K. Indresh sir, have talked much about the topic, and hoping all the success for the 2 days deliberation of the webinar. I take this opportunity to thank the organizers for providing me to share few of my thoughts during this seminar. Thank you one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Now I request our Director of Education, Dr. M.S. Kulkarni, sir, to briefly, kindly address the gathering, sir. M.S. Kulkarni, sir, please.
Yes. Good morning to all of you. I'm very much pleased to participate in this very important webinar organized by COH Bidar. The inaugural guest, Dr. Murthy ji, Dr. M.B. Chetty ji, Dr. our own Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor Dr. K. Indresh sir, Dr. S.I. Athani, Dr. D.R. Patil, all the prestigious speakers and the participants. It's a very important aspect, especially in perennial crops, how to increase the productivity. One thing is the genetic aspects where we can search for introduction of new varieties. And second thing, when we have to stabilize the production, we have to care about, especially in horticulture crops, perennial crops, the canopy management is the topmost priority. So geospatial, either vertical or horizontal canopy management helps in photo harvesting to the maximum extent, and also it in turn leads to food production, or the production of the crop is enhanced. So under such situation, how to manage this canopy architecture becomes very important, and this has been a topic of a hot cake topic nowadays to increase the productivity of horticulture crops. Though the horticultural production has surpassed the agricultural production, the sky is the limit for horticultural crop production enhancement, and thereby meeting the nutritional as well as nutraceutical aspects of our teeming millions. So in this aspect, it is a very apt step. The College of Horticulture Bidar, the team of Dr. Mulge, Dr. Jolgekar, Srinivas, and Survamsi, they have taken a very important aspect for conducting this webinar. I thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity and wish the function a great success. Thank you one and all.
Thank you very much, sir, for your brief remarks. especially telling about the use of geospatial tools. That's another area which we need to look, especially in high density plantations and canopy management. In future, we will look into that, sir. Now I request the organizing chairman, Dr. Ravindra Mulge, Dean, College of Horticulture, Bidar, to give his closing remark and vote of thanks. Dr. Ravindra Mulge, sir, please.
The DR is not online, it seems. I tried contacting Director of Research. DR Patil is not there, it seems.
No, sir, not there.
Huh? Okay. Okay, that's fine. Respected dignitaries of the today's inaugural program, Dr. B.N. Srinivas Murthy, Director of IIHR Bangalore, Honorable Vice Chancellor of UAS Dharwad, Dr. M.B. Chetty, Honorable Vice Chancellor of UHS Bhagalpur, Dr. K.M. Inauguration, Director of Education, Dr. M.S. Kulkarni, or University, Director of Research, Dr. D.R. Patil, Director of Extension, Dr. S.I. Athani, and the distinguished speakers also there with us. We have participated in this inaugural session. I hope they are going to be very useful for the entire the scientist communities, like Dr. Vasudev R, who is a professor and head of forestry biology biologist. Of course, is a plant breeder turned to forest biologist from College of Forestry, Sirsi. Dr. T.N. Balamohan, former Dean, Periyakulam TNAU, Coimbatore, and Dr. S.D. Ramteke, Principal Scientist, Plant Physiology, NRC Grape, Pune, and Dr. Vinay Supe, ADR, Ganesh Kind Research Station from MPKV Rahuri, Pune, and of course, Dr. Dinakar Radiga, Dr. Gundappa, and Dr. P.K. Sukla, who are going to be the pathologist and also the entomologist who have participated here, and our organizing team headed by Dr. Praveen Jolikar, Dr. Ashok, Dr. Srinivas, and all our colleagues in the deans of different colleges and all the scientific community of our college and also participants. So today it's an immense pleasure for me to have all the people with us, and we had a very detailed, the introduction about this training program. As we know that the crop physiology and horticulture, these two are the integral parts. Horticulture is just a crop, whereas the physiology subject is the integral part of that. And it is the management of genotype into environment interaction. And this one has to, for annuals, it is not a very serious problem, because, if you do not know if you make some mistakes, within 4 or 5 months, it can be, rectified, or you are going for a resowing or new crop. Whereas perennial crops, they are going to be there for many years. So these signs of understanding the physiology, and which in turn will have the impact on the crop production and the quality and also sustainability, is very, very important. So in that sense, canopy management is very, very, very important. Why I am saying this? Because we have heard from the very senior most and the Honorable Vice Chancellors also how important, because many a times we recommended for high density planting without having the package for this including practices for the perennial crops. Without that, many a times now the farmers are going for removing some of the trees in between. Very closely they have planted 6 by 6. Suddenly after a few years they started removing those plants. If you deliberately do it knowingly, that is okay. But if you do not know the future and simply going for the high density planting has led to many of these mistakes and losses. Ultimately, you will end up with losses. And as rightly, yesterday I was speaking with our Honorable Vice Chancellor that drumstick varieties also, some varieties are fit for pods, and some varieties are fit for the leaves. The drumstick is being used for leaf for the medicine purpose. It is being exported by a group of farmers. Their genotype is very important. If the crop is having very high harvest index, that means a lot of its photosynthesis it translocates towards the fruit, then you may not get more of a leaf yield. So depending on the objective, which crop, what you want to have ultimately, the physiology of understanding the crop growth and development. That's why I said it is physiology is very, very important. Genetics, right, but if you know the physiology of that, and the genetics, of course, you can manipulate, right? But once you have the genotype, you can't. You only have to understand and adjust to that genotype. You have to have the practices of pruning and training practices. So in that sense, this webinar is very, very important. And we have the speakers, as I said it, Honorable Vice Chancellor has said that you should have a crop-specific speakers. Expertise should be there. Yes, definitely we have crop-specific experts who are going to speak on mango separately, grapes, pomegranate, guava, cashew, because short span of time we cannot cover all the crops, but at least some of the major crops it is being covered. It is intended to cover with these expertise who are giving the lectures. And of course, at the end we have two lectures on, if you go for this canopy management, ultimately you will end up with the either reduction or increasing the pest and disease load in the crop. So the pathologist is also there, and the entomologist also, they are going to give the lectures on management of this canopy and the disease and pest incidents during that particular aspects. So in these things, definitely it is going to be useful, and we are going to have those lectures in 2 days. So with these, I think this is important. Now I would like to thank the honorable guests of the today's function. I wholeheartedly thank Dr. B.N. Srinivasmurthy, Director of IHR Bangalore, being as a part of this inaugural session and also giving the inaugural note also. And I thank you, sir. I thank you on behalf of the University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot, and College of Horticulture, Bidar, and all the participants. Thank you, sir, for being with us and inaugurating this and addressing us. I also take the opportunity to thank Dr. M.B. Chetty, the Vice Chancellor, UAS Dharwad, who himself is a physiologist, who spoke a lot about the physiology and shared his experience on managing this canopy in various fruit crops and the experiences he said. Sir, because even though you were busy with your other schedules, you are here and you have addressed us. Thank you very much, sir, for addressing us and being the part of this inaugural session. Thank you, sir. I also thank the president of today's inaugural function, Dr. K. Indresh, Vice Chancellor of UHS Bagalkot, for addressing all of us. I thank Dr. M.S. Kulkarni, Director of Education, who just spoke about the importance and of this geospatial aspect of this crop canopy management. I thank Dr. S.I. Athani, Director of Extension, who addressed this regarding this, who himself is a pomologist and involved in the canopy management, and he was there as part of our inaugural function. Thank you very much, sir. I thank various, the distinguished scientists like Dr. E. Balamohan, former Dean, and Dr. Suresh Patil is also with us, Dean College of Agriculture, Kalburgi, who's also being an economist and always used to share his experience of one has to look at the angle of economics. Anything you do it, just not the productivity, it's the economically how sustainable that is. So he was there, and he can also with us for giving his the critical comments. I thank you, sir. I thank Dr. Vasudev, and I thank all the speakers who are here, and I thank Dr. D.R. Patil. Of course, he's maybe something was not able to, we are not able to contact him, but as a part of this inaugural session, I thank our Director of Research, Dr. D.R. Patil. I thank all the participants. We had some participants like, some doctor who was really, posting some in the chat box that Govindan, they are having, some practice is organic farming, something he's doing, and he's interested, like, as a farmer. And we also had, some of the participants, they have, said some of their experience in the chat box. I think for the 2 days, they are going to get all the experience, whatever the expert speakers are going to speak. So I thank them, and I thank all the farmers, all the participants, all the scientists, and all the students. And I thank our organizing team headed by Dr. Praveen Jolekar, Dr. Ashok Suryavanshi, and Dr. Srinivas, and Dr. Ganesh Gowda Patil, and all other scientists who we have involved in this organization of this 2 days webinar. Thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your closing remarks and vote of thanks. Without wasting much of the time, because one of our most respected speaker, Dr. Vasudeva sir is waiting since long to share his experiences. He is a forest biologist and maybe 2.5 decades long experience and a well-known naturalist. Now I request Dr. Ashok Suryavanshi. We'll be starting the technical session with his first address, sir, with the permission of the House. So now I request Dr. Ashok Suryavanshi to give a brief introduction about Dr. Vasudeva. Mr. Suryavanshi, please.
Thank you, sir. So good morning to all, respected Vice Chancellors and all the delegates. And I'm very happy to introduce today's speaker, Dr. R. Vasudeva, sir. Sir is serving as a professor and head of forest biology. He's having a vast experience of 2.5 decades in forestry area, research area. He did his PhD from 1995 in plant breeding and genetics, University of Agriculture Science, Bangalore. Then sir is currently working on the forest ecology, tree improvement, conservation, genetics, and livelihood enhancement. Sir also successfully led the team and documented the tree resource of the Central Western Zone and successfully recovered a critical endangered tree species. And sir also developed a field gene bank of over 100 aromatic pickle mango, that is apimidi, and also about 35 local varieties of jackfruits, and distribute over 50,000 sampling local important fruit varieties, then such as aromatic and wild mango, jack and kokum. And apart from this, sir is having a lot vast experience in teaching also. Sir guided over 50 PG students and conducted various national and international seminars in the field of forest research and work, and also received prestigious awards as a best teacher award from ICR New Delhi, and also worked as a peer-review and prestigious journals in various NASA rating journals. With his brief work, sir readily accepted our invitation to deliver a lecture on light interception and photosynthesis of yield in perennial horticulture crops. Thank you, sir, for inviting our invitation. And so I request you to deliver the lecture on this topic, sir. Thank you very much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Yalligu namaskara. Good morning to everybody. Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, Dr. Indiresh, sir. Honorable Vice Chancellor of our University, Dr. Chetty, sir. Honorable Director of IHR, Dr. BNS Murthy. Organizer of this particular event, my friend, Dr. Ravindra. All the distinguished colleagues, Dr. Praveen, Dr. Ashok, Dr. Srinivas, all the distinguished officers of the UHS Bagalkot, fellow scientists and students. Thank you very much for having me. Let me share this. Have you made me co-host, Ashok?
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir, you are co-host, please.
Yeah. Are you able to see my slide?
Yes, very much, Dr. Vasu.
Okay.
Sir,
Can you please slide show mode, sir?
Yeah. My name is Professor Vasudeva. I work as the University Head of Forest Biology and Tree Improvement at the US Dharwad College of Forestry, Sirsi. Today's topic for my presentation is effect of light interception and photosynthesis on yield in fruit crops, implications to canopy management. You must be wondering why a forest biologist is actually interested in canopies. So I'll be speaking on that particular issue first with 2 or 3 slides. Then we'll take up a very big question on strategies to improve fruit yield, how much solar radiation is utilized by the fruit crops, what are the theoretical background about it, does increased light interception increases the yield in fruit crops, what are the empirical evidences that we have, and the testing the influence of trees' architectural variability on their light interception efficiency. What does the modeling and prediction tell? And then differential contribution of leaves to the photosynthesis about this per photosynthesis. And finally, I will end up with methods to study light interception. I will only introduce a few things about it. Let me tell you why I'm interested in forest canopy. Forest canopy is indeed an emerging frontier of science. It is a continuous interconnected tree crops. Suppose you take an aerial picture of a very good forest, the canopy looks like cauliflower. That's exactly this. It's an ultimate frontier of diversity, basically because 40% of all species on the Earth's surface is actually found on canopy alone, which were totally ignored it. And it provides valuable medicine, and destroying canopies can actually alter the evolution forever. I have been interested in canopy basically because of these reasons. This is the interface between the atmosphere and the biosphere. People go to the canopy like this, spend weeks on the canopy on this raft, and then study various aspects, including the photosynthesis. So this is about whatever the basic principles of canopy management holds good for forestry and the perennial horticultural crops. With this background, let me jump to today's talk. So we are all talking about how to improve the fruit yield. What are the basic strategies of it? So first is to increase the total dry matter yield. And second, with the increase in the total dry matter or without it, to increase the magnitude of partitioning of dry matter towards the fruit. So these 2 are the 2 broad strategies to increase the fruit yield. Of course, as we all know, dry matter is nothing but the CHO, or the carbon, hydrogen, oxygen in that particular ratio. That's exactly what we have to now partition this total dry matter in the way that we want it. And the carbohydrates come from photosynthesis, and photosynthesis come from the solar energy collectors of the leaf called the chloroplasts. Indeed, the primary function of a tree structure, primary function of a canopy is to support and display the leaves. And the sole function of the leaves is to house and display the chloroplasts for energy collection. So all our discussion today in the entire 2 days is going to revolve around how exactly these factories that capture the light are going to be housed, how they are displayed to intercept more light. As we know from the basic physiological aspects, there are four key factors for dry matter production. Number 1 is the quantity of incident photosynthetically active radiation called PAR, and how much is the percent light intercepted by the crop. And this is exactly what we are now addressing. And what is the biochemical conversion of this into the light energy into the chemical energy, and during the process, what is the kind of loss that we may have. So these are the 4 issues, out of which 3 are generate the biomass, whereas one actually loses it. The first one, if you take, the amount of incident solar radiation depends on where exactly is your plantation, in what latitude. Is it in Bidar or is it in Thiruvananthapuram? It varies based on that. Or is it in Kashmir? And it also based on the cloud cover. So it's totally independent of what crop you are growing and how you are managing it. So we will not consider that aspect. The second aspect is the major environmental factor is that influences the photosynthesis and production is amount of light that is intercepted by the leaves. How much is the solar radiation utilized by fruit crops? If you ask this question, we have to go to the limitations of what are the limitations that we have as a plant for the total utilization of the solar energy. We know that only 50% of the solar energy is photosynthetically active. Of that 50%, only 75% can be utilized because of the growing season limitations in many crops. And of this 75, typically a light interception in an orchard system can capture around 40%. And then of this 40%, only 5% is the chemical efficiency that we have to convert into chemical energy. And then 15% is the whole tree respiration loss. And then 60% is the harvest index. That's exactly what you can see here. This is the photos. If you see, this is the light radiation that we receive, or a plant receives. 50% is only active, of which 75% can be put into growing season. So these two we cannot alter. And of this 75%, 40% can be intercepted by orchard systems. This is exactly the point that we have to discuss, of which only 5% converted into chemical energy, of which about 15% is the loss. And from this, you get around 60% as the harvest index. Now, harvest index is mostly genetic character. Also, we can slightly increase it through horticultural practices. But by and large, this is the limiting step that we are talking about. So we have not even addressed to capture 40% of light interception in the orchard system, basically because of lack of knowledge. So this is exactly what we are now talking about. So ultimately, if you talk about how much is the total efficiency of our systems to convert the incident light into the ultimate product that we have 50% from the climate limitation. You have the regional limitation that reduces to 37.5%. And then orchard design and leaf area reduces to 15%, so on and so forth. So we are now ultimately worried about efficiency of 0.38% light efficiency conversion into fruit yield. So this is the fundamental point that we should now remember. We are working with a very, very low efficient system, and then any small increment in utilization can actually give a very big yield. The fruit yield can really double sometimes, basically because of this particular limitation. Now, the one first question that we should ask is that, does increased light interception increases the fruit yield? Do we have empirical evidences to suggest? I will not be dealing with all the fruit crops here. This is the photo taken in Nagpur, the Nagpur Santra. Look at the kind of training that they have done, and then the kind of fruit set that we have. Suppose you summarize all the relationship between the fruit yield on the y-axis and on the x-axis the light interception in a mid-season light interception by several reports, you find a positive relationship between the two, telling you that indeed there is, when we increase the light interception, there is always a apple yield increases, at least in apple. This may be true in most of the tropical fruit trees. But there are, in this particular case, there are two distinct phases one should remember. The first phase is between 10 to 50% increase, there is a linear relationship between the light intercepted and the yield. There are less of scattered of the points here. suggesting that it is very, very neat. But after 50%, the points are highly scattered, suggesting that over and above 50% efficient interception, there may be other factors that are limiting. It could be nutrition, it could be water, it could be a pathogen, or whatever it is. So we should now remember that anything that is around 50 to 60%, up to that point, we do have suggested that indeed increasing the light reception can actually increase the yield to the extent that almost 10 tons to almost 40 to 50 tons applied. This is true in mango, for instance. 65%, 68% light interception has been suggested to be the most optimal. It's also true in almonds. It's also true in walnuts. So light interception that drives the photosynthesis is related to crop yield. And under non-stress conditions, canopy photosynthesis is a direct function of the light intercepted by the canopy during the day, and hence the amount of assimilation increases in that fashion. So the factors increasing the percentage tree canopy light interception and the light distribution in an orchard are extremely simple. Everybody knows about it. Increasing the tree density to certain extent, not beyond certain extent, as Professor Ravindra said. High ratio of leaf area per tree to the land area allocated. Reducing the distance between the rows, increasing the height of the trees, and orienting the rows to the north-south direction. As Professor M.B. Chetty said, Honorable Vice Chancellor of our university, that the direction of the planting actually matters a lot in increasing it. So these are some of the basic principles coming out of from a lot of empirical evidences over 1 dozen tropical fruit tree species. But what is important to remember is that how exactly tree growth occurs and how understanding the allometric growth pattern allows us to manipulate the distribution of energy, distribution of carbohydrate to different parts. Let me develop a little bit of theory here. The first is that any tree is a semi-autonomous organ, a collection of a semi-autonomous organ. What do we mean by that is you have roots, you have main trunk, you have branches, you have sub-branches, you have leaf, you have fruit. Each organ type has a specific organ-specific developmental pattern and the growth potential. So you should remember that it's a semi-autonomous collection of organs. The organ growth is activated by a hormone or by environmental signal. And once it is activated, the environmental conditions and the genetics would determine how much is the growth that actually occurs. The realized organ growth, or the total growth that we can receive at any given time interval, is actually a consequence of the growth capacity of that organ, resource availability, and the inter-organ competition for the resources. So in fact, the inter-organ competition for carbohydrate is actually the function of how relative is the source and the sink. The idea is that carbon distribution is mainly controlled by the development and growth patterns of individual organs and their ability to compete for carbohydrates. So it's not that just because a tree is very big, it should give more of its energy to develop either fruits or the flowers. Tree does not allocate carbohydrates to organs. Indeed, organs compete for that particular carbohydrate, and then because of this particular competition, the organ growth occurs. That's exactly the most important that we should remember. So what are the two principles of the canopy management is the tree provides carbohydrates, nutrients, and water for the organs to use them. Organs use the resources is directed by organ growth and the development. If you can encourage more organ growth, it utilizes more resources. It will develop more more if you actually encourage its development. Organ development and the growth dictate the tree growth and the fruit production, and not vice versa. As I said, just because a tree is very big, it does not mean that it should produce a good fruit production. So remember that we need to manage trees to optimize the resource capture, and we need to manage organs to optimize organ growth to attain full crop yields. Managing the trees to optimize resource capture is all about the canopy management, and then managing the organs to optimize organ growth is about pruning and other allied horticultural activities. But when we're talking about it, what are the different factors that actually contribute to the development of the canopy? So if you take only 4 characters like leaf area, internodal length, top shoot diameter, and branch angle, all of them have extremely high putative influences on the light interception efficiency. For instance, leaf area can potentially increase the leaf surface, but leaf area increases on one another can actually decrease the potential interception. Similarly, so there is a whole lot of allometric relations between the independent characters and the dependent characters, and ultimately it can lead to the efficiency. But however, this poses a problem of studying. If one increases the leaf area and forget about the internodal length, you will end up in less resource or the less light interception efficiency. And today, in order to overcome this and make it very simple, there is one particular method to study the interception efficiency of the canopy. This every one of us should know about it. About maybe all our colleagues in Agriculture University would know about it. But for the benefit of the students, I would like to now reiterate that there is a ratio called star ratio. This is called as Shillot to area ratio, STAR star. What do we mean by a Shillot is, suppose on a surface area, the light is false. The light falls on a surface area. If it is opaque, it develops an image. It's a shadow. So this shadow is called as the Shillot. And the star is a ratio of the total leaf area and then the projected leaf area. When we say projected leaf area, what is the Shillot area of this particular surface that actually comes in? So if the star is higher, it means that the projected area is more exposed to the incident light. Let me explain it with some small animation. Let's imagine you have a tree. Suppose you have a tree here, and this particular tree is having 4 leaves, and when there is a light that falls on these 4 leaves in a midday, it creates a small shadow. Let us imagine the same leaves are organized in that particular fashion, and when the light falls, the Shillot area is larger. Suppose you calculate the star ratio, total leaf area divided by the projected leaf area. Let us imagine the projected leaf area is 1 unit and the total leaf area is 4 units. Then the star is PLA by TLA, that's PLA by TLA, which is 0.25. Whereas if the leaves are organized in that fashion, the TLA remains same because the leaf area doesn't change, but the projected area changes, basically because they have been little away from each other, the star increases. So this particular star ratio is now being considered as one of the most interesting and easily calculatable ratio to understand how exactly the light interception is happening at the canopy level. In fact, in reality, in practically, we don't have a system where one leaf is stacked one above other like that, or leaves are completely away from each other, not overlapping. So what we have is a random leaf like this in a canopy, and then using this Shillot or the star, we can actually identify how exactly the light interception happens. In fact, this has been studied by the simulations have been done. About more than 300 simulations have been done in a 5-year-old trees. 4 kind of values were monitored. One is the branch angle, second one is the internode length in apple, and then shoot diameter and the leaf area. And what is its effect? Suppose we increase the branch angle, what happens to the total star? Remember, our idea is to increase the star in the sense that if the star ratio is higher, it will not be more than 1, it will be below 1. If the value of the star ratio is higher, it means that the light interception is better. As you understand here, both the branching angle and the top shoot diameter does not contribute to the star. But what is important is when the individual leaf area, it's not the total leaf area of the tree, but when the individual leaf area is smaller the leaf area, the star increases. Longer the internode, the star increases. So the sum and substance of this particular study is internodal length and the area of the individual leaves had the highest impact on the star, whereas the branching angle and the shoot diameter have low impact. It's not that they do not have, there is the impact is little lower. So basically overall star turned out to be smaller when the leaf area turned out to be bigger, because large areas produce bigger portions of overlaps and thereby interfering with internode. So understanding these things are extremely important in a canopy management in an orchard system. So people are now actually bringing out models to understand how the architectural variability can vary the light interception efficiency. One of the simplest things that has been proposed by Davenport in 2006 is the pruning shape architecture in mango to increase the light interception. If it is never pruned, it appears something like that. And if we give a regularly pruning, that perhaps Dr. Balam Mohan is going to speak in depth about it. So you will have a canopy like this. But light interception can actually vary in an orchard. Orchards are long-lived trees. We need to consider before we actually venture into any method of any orchard system to adapt. We should now worry about how the interception changes as a dynamic system over the years. This has been visualized and simulated by many tree-specific models. These are the 3D tree models that have been specifically evolved by looking at certain parameters like branching angle, internodal length, apex diameter, and leaf area of individual tree crops, individual genotypes, and also giving the basic principles of what is the growth rate of individual tree. And this you can actually visualize. Suppose you plant an orchard today, over the next 7 years, 8 years, or 15 years, how your canopy is going to develop. And this is what we exactly have to now look for in, we have to now inculcate of utilizing this 3D modeling of the canopy architecture using simulations. This has been done. Of the 4 studied factors, main additive effects has been identified in intercepting the leaf. This suggests that the major genetic improvements could be done in fruit tree species based on the identified idiotype. So these simulations will help a breeder to identify a specific type, a specific kind of a architecture that it has, or the specific branching angle of the trees, or the leaf area of the trees, to arrive at an idiotype. In fact, there are many models. This is in almond. There is a model called L almond model, which actually completely takes into consideration many factors. And then these are the simulations done, and these are the actual kind of the growth model that you get. So this is one particular variety called nonpareil, this is Ulrich and the Winters. So these are the ones that has been given the model. Orchard level modeling has to be now considered as the prime area of research, which incorporates very high fund of computer modeling and the growth factors and the pruning and training factors that we have. And the aim of such studies is to structurally and functionally model every orchard system and come out with a specific design for maximum light intercept. In fact, very recently, last July, there is a very beautiful paper that has come in Annals of Botany. These people from France have developed a model called V-Mango, which is a functional structural model for mango growth, development, and fruit production. I am not going to the details of it. So what you see is the real picture here and what has been simulated by their model. They are extremely similar to one another. This is how the model can be now so robust. The computer modeling is so robust now that we should now immediately think of inculcating this into our orchard system. In fact, this is the ultimate that we have, stochastic modulation simulation of the mango tree here. Okay. So this is how the modeling of light interception has been done using that. So we should now think about modeling, and then we can now think about star. Suppose you do not have major resources for modeling, we can think of having a star ratio identification of it. Yet another most important aspect about the canopy management is with respect to the differential contribution of the leaves to the photosynthesis in many fruit crops. In fact, flag leaf photosynthesis is a very fundamental aspect in tree physiology. What do we mean by that is, suppose you take an apple tree and it comprises of many shoot types. It comprises of short extension roots, long extension roots, burst roots, shoots, and then and also it contains certain complexes called the spur kind of a thing. So suppose you take a developing branch like this. So this branches has the burst shoots here. This has spur shoots there. By specific giving a cuts to different branches, one can encourage the spur level leaf activity and the light interception by the spur. Indeed, this was studied in 4 production systems of entire apple production system. And if you can see here, of the total light intercepted by the canopy, almost 42% light interception has been done by the spur vegetation alone. It varies from 30 to 42%, and that has direct effect on the yield. So in a particular system, if a particular orchard system encourages a lot of spur photosynthetic activity or interception of light by the spur canopy, then the yield can actually increase to a very great extent. So it's also shown that in this, if you take the LAI, the leaf area index, total leaf area index and the yield, and the spur total leaf area, the spur leaf area index and the yield, these are strongly related. It is said that the spur canopy contributes maximum carbohydrates to the developing fruit, and that's how people now say that it is indeed most important to encourage and study the spur canopy in most of our tropical fruit tree species. I'm not sure about it because I have not studied the tropical fruits in this from this angle. I may be wrong that in telling that this could be low, but definitely the light interception by the shoot canopy decreases apple yield after certain yield. But if you encourage the spur canopy shoot the light interception, it actually increases the apple yield. In fact, if you go back and look at the almond management in California, they tell about orchard. We are not going to manage the orchard. What we really managing is managing a very good productive spur populations. So if your canopy management can boil down to managing this spur activity or the spur canopy, that itself is going to be maintaining a very healthy spur population is a key for the high yields in the many aspects of it. Okay. So in fact, just to study, just to give an example, this Bruce Limpman's lab in 2001, they tagged 2,400 spurs in about 48 trees, and then tagged it for and studied it for 7 years to understand what happens in the subsequent seasons. And then perhaps mango also one could study such kind of a thing. So fruit fields are positively related to spur leaf interception, and this emphasizes the importance of exposure of spur leaf area to efficiency of converting it. And canopy management should emphasize the development and maintenance of open spur-rich tree canopies that intercept high percentage of light with spur canopy. Okay. I will end my talk in about 5 minutes with a study on light interception. Just to give an introduction of how exactly one can study the light interception, which is, in fact, in most of the horticultural research projects, this is one of the least studied perhaps. We have several simple techniques to study the light interception. The first one is the fisheye lens photography. Second one is laser assisted canopy scan. Star method. In fact, majority of the foresters use this. Multiple light sensors. We also use the fisheye. And then septometer is another one, and point grid, which is extremely simple. So this fisheye lens is a simplest. You have the Leica and many other companies who produce it. It's a small handle with a fisheye lens, which you can vary the your capture of light in different angles, 7 degrees, 23 degrees, 38, so on and so forth. And that's how it actually captures and looks at how much canopy is open. As a forester, I would like it to be closed as much as possible, but as a horticulturist, you may wish to change it the way that increases the productivity. Septometer is also an extremely simple and measure which can be carried to the field, and you can directly capture the light intensities. It can carry. You can actually study whole lot of measurements can be now either above or below canopy can be now made using this septometer, and that's how one actually gets these data. And simplest method is to put a fisheye lens. Suppose this is your canopy, and you can, these are the different points. You can keep on clicking a fisheye lens, and then at some particular point of time and look at it, how the light interception is actually happening. One of the simplest method that we have discovered is extremely simple, even in some of the forest orchard, is that simply keep a plain paper in every corner of a small plot, and then at certain particular point of time in the day, simply look at how much is the area covered by leaf or the sun that falls on this particular sheet. And then overall, if you add up, you will exactly know, and you do not require a very high sophistication at all. But essential that we need to make it our horticultural research more tech savvy and go to the 3D modeling. So in conclusion, first of all, we should remember that we need to manage the trees to optimize the resource capture and manage the organs to optimize organ growth. And remember that organ development and the growth, they dictate the tree growth and the food production, and not the vice versa. So open tree canopies, well exposed throughout the growing season, provide not only the basis for high fruit numbers, large fruit sizes, but also for good fruit color and quality. Canopy management practices have to optimize tree canopy light interception distribution and the carbohydrate partitioning in support of potential fruit growth. This we can perhaps achieve through the 3D modeling, and we should now embrace the new technology that is there available to us to increase the fruit yield. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Dr. Praveen.
Thank you very much, sir, for your elaborate address and really taking us into the forests of Sirsi and showing the way for the pomologist how we should design our future research, especially with the canopy management, the tools that can be used in fruit crops. It was really a very elaborative talk on this aspect and enlightening the gathering. For the information of you, sir, see, there are participants from across the country, from Jammu and Kashmir to the Tamil Nadu, even though around 312 have joined so far. But there is a pan-India presence in this webinar. So your enlightenment into the basics of the aspects of light interception and canopy management really has helped us as a horticulturist. So thank you very much on behalf of University of Horticultural Sciences, Bagalkot and College of Horticulture, Bidar. We wholeheartedly thank you for accepting our request and giving a wonderful lecture. We look forward for your association with us, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I think, sir, please wait for a few minutes. If there are any queries among the participants, the session is open for discussion.
Sir,
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Sir, please.
Sir, welcome, sir. Dr. Koti, sir.
Thank you.
Ashok.
Thank you.
Ashok.
Thank you. Yes, I could recognize you. It's a wonderful lecture given by Vasudev. I really appreciated the way he has presented. But I have some questions here because we are crop physiologists. So as you have already told, sir, that spur leaf area index. Okay. So is there any specific leaf area index as you have fixed in the crops like a sorghum, soybean, like this? So are there any this leaf area index either critical or the what you call critical LAI for the tree species for better interception of the light, like that? So you told only the star. Star is one of the total area, projected area divided by the total leaf area. So of course, as you said, that 0.63 is the critical value or optimum value for better light detection compared to that of 0.3 something, 0.2 you told. So are there any the leaf area index values for the tree crop species or for the horticulture crops?
Thank you, sir. Dr. Koti, sir. Nice to see you, sir.
Yes,
so,
sir.
The question is that, sir, actually, leaf area index as such has no specific value for a particular crop. It depends on the tree architecture.
Okay.
It depends on the genotype, and it depends on the orchard system that we adopt.
Okay.
All that I said is, instead of worrying, studying about the leaf area index, its allometric relation with the branch angle, etc., you can straight away go and study this star ratio. Remember that increasing the star ratio is your prime idea.
But you told the spur leaf area index.
Yeah, the spur leaf area index has been calculated experimentally by monitoring about 2,400 per canopy, but actually doing it in a routinely basis would be a very, very big problem. So all that we require to do is that identify the spur in a point where the spur can actually develop. It may be in, definitely it is there in sapota as I see. Yes. Definitely it may be there in mango and many of these fruit crops. So all that I emphasized is that we need to identify that particular vegetation around the fruit that is actually going to develop. And about 80 to 90% of the carbohydrates to the developing fruit comes from this spur. And we need to identify or maintain a very healthy spur population. So there is nothing that what could be the sanctum sanctorium for the leaf area index with respect to the spur canopy. It needs to be worked out on a case-by-case basis, genotype by genotype, and a combination of the orchard system and the genotype.
And one more thing, specific leaf age, leaf thickness is also one of the things that is also considered in the crop species. That kind of a thing did not appear in your talk. So I would like to know, is there any the role of this leaf thickness?
Oh, actually, sir, the canopy photosynthesis, the entire about 6 or 7 slides, I took it away, basically because of want of time. Sir, actually, there is a whole lot of studies that actually one can do. As our Vice Chancellor, Dr. M.B. Chetty, sir, told, in fact, orchard management is almost 80% tree physiology. So we need to now address these issues, and then we need more tree physiologists to come to horticulturists, sir. Yeah, there are a whole lot of things, sir. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
That's good, Dr. Vasudev, because normally the physiologists think about the annuals. When it comes to the perennials, what are the approaches? It is totally different. You cannot just end up with a leaf area index. Hardly it can give you any idea. How you have to look at, and even the survey of the literature, that is the only way. Otherwise, you can't have the complete research for that particular objective. So looking at the what are the things researched and working out where the up to 40% of this whatever light you are receiving, you are seeing the response. Beyond that, it is not there. That means it is totally different from annuals. We have to think differently. I think Dr. Vasudev, sir, it's a very basic for all these the fruit or the perennial orchard management researchers. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Yeah.
Hello, sir. I have a question for you, sir. Hello, sir. This is a Devash. I'm a PhD student, sir. Sir, most of the canopy management issue is being done in the temperate property, but India is in a tropical and subtropical country, and the mango, banana, citrus, these are the crop specific we are. But in general, these crops are lacking the canopy management aspect. What could the possible research is being going on these crop, especially if I say about a mango, which is not a pruning intensive crop? How can we do the canopy management with respect to harvest the maximum interception?
Yes, then you'll have to wait for the next presentation by Dr. Balamohan. He is a very reputed scientist of TNAU and has done a practical work, not like me, theoretical. Okay. Perhaps you should ask him this question. Yeah, you'll have to wait for the next session.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Devashish, the next session will be addressed by Dr. Balmohan only on mango itself. You can really throw your questions on, you can ask your questions in that session also.
Thank you, sir.
Any other questions, please? Okay. Thank you very much, sir, for answering a few of those queries. It's a complex science, definitely, but really opens up an array of issues that we can look as a horticulturist into that. Thank you very much for giving your vision on this aspect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Now I take the second lecture by Dr. T.N. Balamohan, sir, a former Dean, Faculty, TNAU, Coimbatore. Sir, you are there online, sir? Balamohan, sir?
Yeah, I'm in the line.
Right, sir. You are welcome to this technical session, sir. We are very much privileged to have you on this national level webinar with the input that there are many people who are looking for your talk, especially it includes the student community, the researchers, the young researchers, especially in the mango and the farming community. So we are looking forward for your, sir. Thank you for coming here on the web. Now I request Dr. Ganesh Gowda Patil to give a brief introduction about Dr. Balmohan, sir, to the gathering. Ganesh Gowda, please.
Thank you, sir. Now today I am very much privileged to introduce Dr. T.N. Balamohan, sir. Sir is the former dean and former dean College of Horticulture and Research Institute, Periakulam, and former Special Officer, Horticulture College and Research Institute, Trichy. Sir has got very rich experience in academic and research field. So sir has completed 36 years and 6 months, which experience in teaching, research, extension, and administration. And sir has engaged in administrative service for about 15 years and 9 months. And sir has completed a postdoctoral fellow from University of Malaya in 1998 and PhD in horticulture from Tamil Nadu Agriculture University, Coimbatore in 1995. For his PhD, sir has received Jawaharlal Nehru Award. And sir is visiting professor for the Michigan State University, USA, and Cornell University, Ithaca, New York, USA. Sir has got a total teaching experience of about 36 years, 6 months, and handled UG, PG, and PhD courses at ADAAC and RI, Trichy, HCRI, Coimbatore, HCRI, Periakulam, and ACRI, Madurai. So, sir, after attending a training program at Cornell University, USA during 2010-11, sir has developed development of e-content. After that, sir developed e-content for BSc horticulture degree programs and uploaded same in the ICR website. And this content was very much useful to the for all the state agriculture universities across the country. And sir has also developed a national syllabus for MSc fruit science crops related subjects. Sir has got a very rich experience in administrative experience. Like sir has acted as a chairman of Board of Studies Horticulture and board chairman ICR 5th Dean Committee on Horticulture and Sericulture during the year 2014. As a chairman Board of Studies, sir revised syllabus of BSc Horticulture as a founder, special officer and dean, established a new horticulture college and research institute for women with the state-of-art facilities at a budget of rupees 40 crore. And sir has served as a dean, Horticulture College and Research Institute, Periakulam, and implemented ultra-high density planting in mango, guava, and moringa for domestic and export market. So likewise, very many more achievements in the field of the administrative experience. And with respect to research experience, sir has served as a principal investigator and handled more than 22 externally funded projects and mobilized a budget of around 1,000 lakhs rupees worth in research, education, and extension programs from national, international, and state and private sponsors. Sir has undergone training at Michigan State University, USA on value chain and supply chain management on fruits and vegetables. So likewise, sir is having very vast experience in the experience. And apart from that, extension capabilities. With respect to this, sir has organized and conducted nearly 43 capacity building trainings for extension officials, scientists through Michigan State University USA project. And sir has organized 79 training programs for farmers and entrepreneurs through ICR NAIP projects and 30 more trainings programs through ICR NASF projects across the country. And sir has delivered 38 national and international lectures and attended 18 national and international conferences and published more than 237 research articles in national and international journals and authors for 13 books in horticulture and guided for about 13 PhD students and 13 MSc students. And with respect to awards, sir has received 13 awards for the contribution in the field of horticulture and received Jawaharlal Nehru Award from the ICAR, New Delhi, for the outstanding research contribution for the PhD thesis titled Evaluation of Chili Genotypes for Salt-Affected Soils in the year 1996, and also awarded the FAO Fellowship of United Nations, Rome, Italy in the year 1998. So likewise, many more awards sir has received in his career. So with this, I request sir, Dr. T.N. Balamon sir, to talk today's topic on the canopy architecture management and commercial cultivation in mango. Sir, your talk is many participants are waiting to hear your talk. So I request sir to please take a chance. So thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
ನೋಡಿ ಏನು ಹಾಕಿಲ್ಲ ನಮ್ಮ ಮುಟ್ಟೆ ಇಲ್ಲ
You are already in the meeting, sir. I think Zoom just slides you have to.
Yeah, actually, I need to bring in the slides. If somebody helps me, probably it will be better.
Where the folder is there, you please look at. We could see your monitor here. The
Yes.
screen we are seeing. Only where your file is there, you please go to that particular folder and it can be opened.
Actually, I shared my PPT with Mr. Ashok.
Okay, Ashok, can you share
Yeah.
from here, because
Yeah,
if you are sharing, it becomes easy and you can. Okay, Dr. Ashok. Sir, this is Zoom. Don't go there.
Okay.
Your folder, maybe where in the computer where you are stored, you have to move that particular folder.
Okay, then 1 minute. 1 minute.
You can minimize that and go to your computer where now on the screen. Yeah. Now here anywhere is there, please click on that particular file. US Bangalore. Canopy architecture is there. You click on that. You can double click, sir. That will open. You can double click that. Yeah. It's opening. Now a slideshow. You please click on the slideshow bottom. Yeah. Right. You yourself can do this. Thank you.
Can I go ahead? Go ahead.
Yeah, sure, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. At the outset, let me thank the Vice Chancellors, the Dean, Bidar Horticulture College, Director IHR, organizers of the webinar. Actually, I must thank the organizers who, they are, very much in touch with me to get all these, materials and all. I really thank them. And I also thank the participants, students, farmers. Few farmers are also there, if I'm correct. And before starting this, I must thank Dr. Vasudev. He was so helpful in rather explaining the scientific background, with reference to canopy management. And he was the lecture was so wonderful. I also enjoyed very much the fundamental part of it. He explained very nicely, so it made my presentation very easy for the the participants to understand. So let me go to my title, say architecture, mango canopy management. Coming to this crop, we all aware mango is a fruit which is actually a blessing to many of us know during summer months. And we Indians, we are very proud that we are actually contributing more than 65% of the world mango production. And coming to the productivity, Indian productivity is very low, which is around 8.6 tons per hectare. When you compare it with developed countries like, of course, Israel, it is actually 1/4 of the Israel production, in the sense they produce more than 35 to 40 tons per hectare. Among the different states, of course, UP is leading with the 12.8 tons. That itself is very low. Of course, we are producing only 1/3 of the Israel production. Productivity. So there are a lot of things. We need to be. Make sure. And before getting into the low productivity, the complexity of Indian mango production is actually we have so many varieties, more than 1,000 varieties. Of course, actually there are. Say for one single variety, there are quite a lot of synonyms. If you take, for example, Bangalore is called in different names in different places. So so many numbers, thousands of varieties, maybe because with the regional naming and all. Of course, normally we used to call this a synonym. So we have quite a lot of varieties, wide diversity, varied performance, things of that kind. But coming to low productivity, there are few reasons which we can, of course, attribute. The one is actually seedling progeny. See, after 80s only we were producing grafted plants. I mean, before that, no, we were using only seedling progenies. And any mango tree, I mean, aging 40 plus, no, they're all mostly seedling progenies. Maybe one of the reasons why it's very difficult for us to predict how they behave and all. Then another thing, silly, along with mango, alternate bearing is actually is an issue. Along with mango in the sense, mango will not produce mangoes in the sense that the tree will not produce mangoes around the year. And actually 1 year you will be getting, another year the yield will be less, or sometimes it may not, you may not even realize a small quantity. So alternate bearing is another problem with mango. Then very important issue related to canopy management is dominance of vegetative phase. Mango bearing normally used to be 4.5 months to 5 months. The rest of the months, 7 months, you will be getting new fleshes. New fleshes out of 7 or 8 months, no, we will be getting say about 4 or 5 fleshes, out of which one will produce, will become a reproductive flesh or a generative flesh. So you will be getting, of course, new fleshes now and then. Say after harvest, you will be getting new fleshes, out of which one flesh will become reproductive. So how to ensure it? That is the biggest problem. Sometimes no, you get continuous flesh. At the end of the day, you may not get any flowers. So we need to know which flesh is actually is very important. How to conserve it? How to force the flesh to produce a flowers subsequently. So this is one area where we are going to see rather in an elaborated way. Then the next is actually conventional spacing, wherein the spacing is say about 30 feet by 30 feet, accommodating say about 45 to 50 plants per acre. And this is another reason no, for low productivity, as I mentioned earlier. So spacing is wider, and you will be able to get a decent yield, say after 9th year or 10th year. Till such time, no, the yield will not be, of course, will not support the farmer for sustainable agriculture or horticulture. So apart from that, physiological disorders. Actually, in alfonso and other few crops, no, we have physiological disorders like hard lumps or things that can, of course, spongy tissue and all. So these are all the issues related to mango. Coming to, what are all the things we can do to enhance the productivity of mango? No, the first and foremost is actually having a fitting planting system, high density, ultra high density. The maximum plant what we can have in 1 acre of land is about 674 plants, rather than a spacing of 3 by 2 meters. From that, no, you can reduce. Say, as I said, no 45 plants per acre, then it has become 100 plants per acre, 110 plants per acre, then 193 plants per acre. 193 plants per acre means 15 by 15 feet apart on either side. And then, of course, from that, no, now, high density is actually, we are evolving in the sense we are increasing the numbers, no, by reducing the spacing between rows and between plants. So the maximum is 674 plants by adopting 3 by 2 meter spacing. And even if we want to have 300 or 400 or 500, based on the of course water availability and soil fertility, the number can be modified. Then the next important technology is micro irrigation and fertigation, which many of the farmers are practicing. And my topic is canopy management. Canopy, how to bring about a good canopy so that you'll be able to get a decent yield at the end of the day. And to support better canopy management, you have to have mechanization. And then to get better return, we have to practice pre and post harvest handling, no, bagging and all, desapping and all. Then top working will come only when the trees are very old, in the late stage of the crop. And if needed, one can go for PGRs, plant growth regulators, to induce flowers. So now let us know about the phenological growth of a mango tree. So if you see the pruning time, normally pruning is done This is actually with reference to a bearing tree. When pruning is done just after the harvest, maybe in the month of June, July, that's the time actually normally the harvest will now be over. At that time, you can go for pruning. Then it will take 1 or 2 months for vegetative growth, maybe September. And from then, the bud will get into dormancy, say in September 1st or 2nd week, it gets into dormancy. Then say it remains for say about 3 months period, and the bud burst maybe in the month of December, January. Meanwhile, actually the root growth will be there, because when there is no leaf growth, root growth will be initiated much faster than the canopy growth. Then the flowering say from say it starts from December, January, sometimes even up to February. There are places where you get flowers in the month of March also. Then from then on, fruit development, and finally the harvest of the fruit. So here, this is the pattern normally happening in the peninsular India. There may be slight changes here and there, say 15 or 20 days, either ahead or followed by that. So if you understand these things, probably we will be able to do the canopy management the way we need to do it. So actually now I need to thank Dr. Vasudev, who explained the things later to light and all. We are all aware that light is a very critical factor. Without light, plant cannot synthesize the biomass, the food which is needed for the plant to support all the activities, right from growth, flowering, and fruit development. So the green leaves, they harvest sunlight, produce carbohydrate, sugars, so that subsequent years, months, the plant will be in a position to produce buds, flowers, and end of the day, fruits. So during that time, say when talking about time, light, density of the planting is very important. So if plants are planted wider apart, light availability and penetration will be much better than densely planted orchard, especially with mangoes. We all aware that say since 1980 we started trying mangoes in different density. In 80s we started planting mangoes in 200 plants per acre, then 400 plants per acre, and 500 plants per acre. Likewise, we started trying mangoes in different density. And there are several factors to decide the number and all. I don't want to get into it, because that's a different area which will take us to different these things. Now, say the canopy management is very important. It's very, very, very critical with reference to the microclimate. Microclimate is nothing but a climate prevailing well within the tree. If the microclimate is very ideal, probably it will enhance flowering and fruiting. And very best microclimate will keep off the pests and diseases from the crop. So microclimate is very important with reference to canopy management. So now let us see the purpose of canopy management. Actually, we need a very strong structured tree. So that say at the end of the day, if we see some of those mangoes, they could be able to bear 500 to 1,000 kilos, up to 1 ton mangoes, fruits. It's possible for us to get from a single tree, a tree which is about 30 to 40 years old. Especially in the case of Bangalore, even there are records actually wherein we'll be able to get 1 ton of mangoes from a single tree. So the structure should be well placed, in the sense we need to have a very good structure to bear that much amount of fruits, the weight. Then say the interrelation between vegetative and reproductive growth. Of course, canopy management is actually trying to make balance between, strike a balance between vegetative and the reproductive growth. And actually pruning or canopy management is to maximize the flowering and fruiting, and finally the yield and yield related. So here, canopy management is otherwise actually managing unmanageable tree so that the tree can able to produce a decent yield. So coming to the aim, as I said, actually previously mentioned, the strong frame, branches in all directions, opening the center. Actually, this is to harvest the light so that the plant can able to give the best out of it, and controlling the stature and size, and finally determining the time of flowering and production. So these are all the things at the end of the day to get a better yield and all. So coming to different tools for canopy management, there are 3 tools actually I can say. The first is genetical material, what we are using for planting. Say if you use dwarfing varieties, probably then your job will be very much easy. Of course, if you use Amrapali dwarfing variety which will not grow, put forth huge branches, in the sense canopy. So Amrapali, Arka, Aruna, Kalepod. Kalepod is a very popular variety of South. Then Payur one released by TNU. These are all the varieties. They seems to be they are normally dwarf in nature. So these varieties can be very well used wherein, of course, you have small space, or you want to do or middle with these plants. It's easy for you to handle these varieties because they are genetically small in stature. Then coming to the next, this is the training and pruning. Of course, like here, a large tree. If you have large tree, actually rightly pointed out by Dr. Vasudev, a large tree need not give you maximum yield and all. Of course, an efficient tree will give you better yield rather than a large tree. An efficient tree is actually one which will synthesize enough, of course, photosynthase by throwing its leaf in all directions and harvesting light as much as possible. So here, training and pruning is very important. Of course, this will enhance the photosynthetic efficiency. At the end of the day, a tree will produce enough flowers, finally the fruits. Then using the rootstock, of course, this is very much practiced in apples and citrus, but not much in, of course, mangoes. But they have identified one variety by name, of course, type Belle Kulamban. This is a tetraploid variety. A potential dwarfing rootstock. Suppose if you use this potential, this dwarfing rootstock, probably the tree will be small so that you can easily manage at the time of canopy management. So besides that, we can also use growth retardants. There are 2-3 retardants right now used in mango cultivation. The role of the retardant is nothing but inhibiting the gibberellin synthesis. Gibberellin is one which will force the plant to produce leaves again and again. Suppose if you break the synthesis of gibberellin or the cycle of gibberellin, automatically the bud is forced to enter into dormancy. Suppose if it is entering into dormancy, minimum of say about 70 to 90 days, that bud will become a generative bud, resulting into a flower. So of course, it is very essential to keep the bud at least for about 70 to 90 days and a dormancy, so that the transition will happen, say from vegetative to reproductive, and at the end of the day, you'll be able to get say flowers. So as far as mango is concerned, two phases or seasons are very important. One is after harvest, and the second one is actually during the fruit development. These are all very critical period wherein one should be very careful so that we'll be able to get actually growth as well as flowers. So as I said, now 2 chemicals are normally used. One is paclobutrazole, which is available in different trade names in market. This is actually a triazole compound which will restrict or break the gibberellin cycle and force the plant to produce flowers. Say it will take say about 60 to 90 days. Say if the season is very ideal, probably after application of this paclobutrazole, you will be able to get flower say the 60th day or 70th day if the season is very ideal. See, season ideal in the sense the night temperature low, and I mean during winter months, no, if it is passing through that, definitely you'll be able to get flowers in 70 days or the maximum 90 days. And if it is not favorable, probably it may take even 90 to 110 days. So this is one thing. Then another thing is Inauguration. This is again a triazole, but this is actually recommended to go for. This is recommended as a foliar spray. Say 1.11 to 1.5 gram per liter, but here you have to do twice now before flowering. So once is in the month of September, another one is in the month of October. October. 2 sprays we have to give. We tried in Alfonso as well as Himam Pasand, wherein we got a very encouraging result with fluconazole, but this is not available in the market. Paclobutazole is available across the country for purchase, or for use in the field. So coming to the canopy management, this is with reference to young trees, young emerging plant. So if you started doing canopy management in the young trees, probably it is very easy to handle it after, say, rather during bearing or even the later stages. So what we need to do in the young tree means, of course, you have to allow the plant to grow 1 meter. Then you have to give a cut at 70 centimeter or 80 centimeter level, say from the ground. Say from ground 70 centimeter height, you have to give a cut. While giving the cut, you need to be very sure that it should be just below the ring of bark. Ring of bark is one which wherein you will be getting number of buds, sprouting buds. You have to give just below the ring of bark so that you will be able to get branches in different points. Suppose if you give at the ring of bark, what will say you will be getting branches in one point. So if you get branches in one single point, definitely at the end of the day, after some time, when the tree starts producing fruits, the balance will all be lost, and actually it's very difficult to maintain those trees. So 70 centimeter height, this is very important, 70 centimeter height, and just below the ring of bark. Here actually you can't see this is the ring of bark, and just below the ring of bark if you give, so automatically you will get 4 branches. 3 or 4 branches. Once again, you have to repeat the same thing. Then you will be getting another 4 branches. So first 4 branches, from 4 branches, you will be getting another 4. Ultimately, you will be getting 16 branches. Once you get 16 branches, from there you get new fleshes. You can allow those branches to produce flowers. So this will take not less than 1.5 to 2 months from planting till it comes to the attaining the pre-bearing stage, of course, the complete state. So say now you can see the photograph. This is one meter height plant. No, this is the height of the plant is 1 meter, wherein you are going to give a cut just below the ring of bark. Now you can see the branches in different, of course, with the distance between one to the another. So you get 4. Likewise, this again 1 meter, again 70 centimeter cut. There again you have to see it should be just below the ring of bark, and ultimately you get a plant like this. So this is the plant. So this is with reference to young plants. 1, 2, 3, the other side 4. And if you give a close cut to a ring of bark, then you will be getting this much of branches. This is not recommended. So at one point you will be able to get just as many branches as possible, and at the end of the day you cannot maintain all these branches efficiently. So now you are seeing a tree, and this is actually a well-trained mango tree, say about less than 1 year, right? So now say the tree is ready for pruning. Say at the age of 1.5 years. Say this is such a light pruning method. This is hard pruning. It depends. Suppose if it is very closely planted, the pruning should be little severe. If it is wide, it means the spacing is little wider, then you can go for light pruning. Now this is actually a well pruned tree of about 1.5 to 2 years old, and say you can see a single trunk at the base. There is no branches lying below, of course, just below the height, no, in the sense 60 centimeter height. And this is a well established orchard of about 1.5 years, right? So this is actually just I mean, before these things, no, a closely planted orchard. I mean, pruned and I mean, ready for flowering. So now the flower comes. So here, fertilizer application, all these things based on the soil, and I'll give a table at the end with which will be useful for you to have a reference. Like, no, then say you get flowers. This is a view of UHTP planting with the 3x2 meter. These plants are actually provided with applied with the cultar, because when you go for higher density planting, unless otherwise you manage the better canopy management, it's very difficult to get flowers. So at times you need this paclobutazole based on the age and canopy coverage, and at the end of the day you'll be able to get flowers everywhere then, right? So this is how the fruits. This is actually if the reference to canopy management in high density planting, you should not allow the plant more than 6 or 7 feet. So if you plug the fruit with the pedicel by manually, the fruit is actually, of course, it can be used for export, or you can sell it anywhere in the world. Suppose if you harvest it mechanically, then or with machines and all, probably one single fruit is enough to spoil the whole lot of the fruit. So it is all the time better to maintain, as far as high density planting is concerned, not more than 7 or 8 feet, so that all the operations can be done. And moreover, one should know the crop loading is possible only when you maintain the tree height, say up to 7 or 8 feet. What I want to say here is crop loading is actually, for one single fruit you need not less than 40 to 45 leaves. No, that will support the full growth of a fruit. So for example, in 1 square meter you can allow 3 fruits or 4 fruits, as the case may be. And actually all the fruits used to be very uniform. In the case of Alfonso, the 300 gram is the normal size, which can be exported or for the local market, whatever it may be. So then you have to load the fruits. For example, 65 fruits in one tree. At the end of the day, you will be able to get 20 kilos. So total number of trees, 600 plus. So you'll be able to get 10 or 12 tons per acre. So the crop loading is possible only when you maintain a tree at an affordable height. It's maybe the ideal height, maybe about 7 or 8 feet. So suppose if you have more number of fruits, you can thin it. When even application of fertilizer and chemical will be very, very efficient if you maintain the tree at an affordable height. This is what a tree of young orchard, which are planted very closely. So you can see, say about say 50-60 fruits, and put together you'll be able to get 20 kilos, and those fruits are actually you can easily sell it out. So, and we have conducted. Someone was asking like whether we have conducted trials. We have conducted 3 trials in Jain irrigation facility, because actually for conducting canopy management trial, you need a big orchards, say about 5-10 acres. All are with similar stage, that the planting age and the canopy size and all should be similar, so that we will be able to get results now, which is when those results are very viable, can be passed on to the farmers to practice. So we have conducted 3 trials actually, one with of course paclobutazole, another with the uniquinazole, and we also combined combination of canopy management, of course, pruning trials. So here normally such trees, 1/3 of the past season growth, if you prune, it's okay. That 1/3 of the past season growth. Sometimes if your soil is so rich, then instead of course a few branches, you will be getting too many branches. The growth will be very thick. And in such conditions, there may be say about 200 new shoots or 100 new shoots. You have to reduce it to 50%. So for your easy understanding, removing the whole partition wood, removing 30% of the partition wood, it all depends upon the response of the tree or how we maintain it. Sometimes, if you grow it in a very fertile land, the whole plant will be dark green in color and you cannot see even a single branch inside. Actually, everywhere you can see only the green leaves. So that kind of a growth, if you have, ultimately you are not going to get flowers in the next season, because all these nutrients will be once again used for vegetative growth. In the sense, you get new flushes, and all new flushes used to be once again vegetative, and at the end of the day, you may not get flowers. So either partition growth, reducing the partition growth, or removing the partition growth, depending upon the growth of the plant. So these trials we have conducted, and in such, one situation, reducing 1/3 of the growth is actually useful. In other situation, removing 50 or 40% of the partition, total growth of the partition. So that way it is. So now you are seeing a well-grown tree. This is actually with reference to bearing tree. So far we have seen only young orchards, which are actually closely planted, high density planting. And now we are seeing an orchard which is about this. This is around 20 years old mango bearing tree. How we can do canopy management in this type of tree, let us see. So here, normally pruning is done in the month of June, July, August, up to that level, because once harvest is over, we can do it. So here, the size and productivity, we have to maintain. Actually, it should not be too big. It should not be too much of vegetative phase. Now we need to do it. Very important thing at this point of time, which I wanted to reiterate here, is the nitrogen level of the plant at the time of new flush is very critical with reference to mango flowering. So you are pruning the tree. You are pruning the tree in the month of June or July. You get a new flush in the month of August. At that time, or end of August, that time, the new flush, if we collect and analyze the nitrogen content, if it is around 1, it is very ideal for the shoot to produce or get into dormancy or to produce flowers in the month of December. So the nitrogen level is very important, which we can manipulate by application, but by reducing nitrogen or something like that. See, this is one important thing. Then the second important thing is getting rain during the period. If there is no rain, definitely you will be able to get, actually you will get flowers everywhere through the tree, which we say that's a gregarious flower. So nitrogen and the rainfall or water management, these two things are very critical in the case of mango flowering after harvest. So you are harvesting the crop. Once it's harvested, 15 to 30 days, you can go for slight pruning, a moderate pruning, which we will be seeing in later slides, in the coming slides. Then actually application of fertilizers. Then you get a new flush. If the new flush remains dormant for another, say about 90 days, yes, you are going to get flowers. If those buds are actually, of course, with either because of excess nitrogen or because of intermittent rainfall, if there is a new flush coming out, then actually the flowering will be, of course, disturbed. So let us see how this is being done. The first pruning after harvest, removal of low-lying branches, removal of branches in the center opening is very important. Dr. Vasudev was telling very clearly that unless otherwise you allow the light to come down heavily, photosynthesis will be affected. What we used to say, we need to open the center, and we should ensure that at least 20 to 25% of the light should come down. So a plant which is fully covered with the canopy now with leaves and branches will not allow not even 1% of light penetrating the plant. So what you need to do, that you have to ensure that to at least 20 to 25% the light should come down, and the ground floor should be with the, a decent light exposure. Let me show it. Actually, I have a small clipping which will tell you very clearly about how to open the center and do all those things. So now the second pruning, once this is done, then you can also do second pruning. It is in the month of course, December till January. This is just prior to flowering. This is again scripting. Scripting is nothing but removal of low-lying branches. The opening up is removal of the twigs actually at the top of it. Here and there actually you have to do so that the light will be coming down very heavily, in the sense, properly. Then tip rooting is done, which is very difficult for aged plants, but young orchards it is possible. Tip pruning is nothing but if you hold a terminal portion of the plant, you may have some, say, about 4 or 5 branches, fleshes, and out of 4 or 5 branches, shoots, 1 or 2 will be healthy. Actually, you can retain maximum 3 branches, and you should remove all the weak tips so that the nutrient will be given to the healthy buds, so that those will come very rather heavily, in the sense the flower will be very lengthy and all. Let us see how this is now coming. And hygiene, actually, and whenever you see a diseased or dead branches, you can prune it. So this table is very important for most of the farmers. So at the, say in the month of September or August, actually you can ask the laboratory people to analyze the nitrogen content of your shoot. If the nitrogen content of your shoot is around 1, this is very ideal. If it is more than 1, then say you may not get of course flowers. You may get once again new fleshes, I mean the vegetative shoots. So starving the plant before flowering is very important with reference to nitrogen. Nitrogen should not be more at the time of course bud formation or bud burst state. If less nitrogen, then the dormancy will be continued. At the end of the day, I mean the December, you'll be able to get more flowers. If nitrogen is more, even a slight irrigation or an intermittent rain will force the bud to produce again vegetative shoot. So the nitrogen level is very important. So what you need to do at the time of course after harvest, at the time of pruning, you have to reduce the application of nitrogen, say half the dose of nitrogen or 1/4 of the nitrogen, so that there is no chance for the bud to produce once again a new vegetative shoot. That is more important. So this is very important table for people who are actually doing commercial orchards, mango orchards. So this is the tree. Let us see how this is now. Is a small clipping for 50 seconds. This is a very small clippings for 50 seconds. Now he is doing squirting, actually removing all the branches, actually close to the, see, the opening the center is very critical, which you have seen, the opening of the center. So now light is coming very freely to the bottom of the plant. I mean the ground layer. This is actually open, say opened tree, wherein you will be able to get light everywhere. Yes. No branches at the bottom, because say if you have branches at the bottom, ultimately what will happen if some pests are, especially the borer and all, will be borer and all be very dangerous pest, especially during summer months, and they may damage the plant. So this is the unpruned plant before pruning. This is actually a pruned plant which is nicely exposed, center exposed, no branches at the bottom, and say the canopy, this canopy, 25% of the portion can be removed. 25% of the portion can be removed. This is opening the center. This portion is opened. 75% is actually removed, allowing light to penetrate below, and though low-lying branches should be removed, this which is otherwise called cutting. So now we can also use chemicals to induce flowering. Of course, this is actually this when you say something about canopy management, at the end of the day, there are chemicals to induce flowering. If your nitrogen content is naturally high in the soil, or if it has more nitrogen in the plant itself, definitely then it is very difficult. And say in such conditions, no, we can induce flowers say about 10 or 15 days before the natural time or the actual time. So here actually 0.5 to 2% this is urea. This will salt in the flowering. I mean, say this you have to apply just before flowering. Say in the month of December you can use this. Potassium nitrate is also used to induce flowers 20 days before flowering. All these things we can use. This is a very critical one which I wanted to discuss with you people. So now this is the first growth, this is the second growth, this is a third growth. So now we have 3 flushes. If we have 3 flushes after September, this shoot will not produce any flowers. This shoot will not produce any flowers. Suppose if this shoot is restricted with one single flush, 100% you will be getting flowers. 100% you will be getting flowers. Suppose if we get another shoot, after that you will be getting 50% flower. 50% flowering. And if it is third flush, ultimately you will be getting only shoot, not any flowers. This is the this is well pruned new flush, and ultimately you see, I want to tell all these people, no, when you stand in one side, you should be in a position to see a person who is standing on the other side. That much, of course, I mean, a reduction of branches, shoots, and all of that. So if you stand in one side, you'll be able to see the person on the other side, so that light can able to penetrate everywhere, and the color of the fruit will be uniform. And if you get light everywhere, the color will be uniform. I mean, suppose these tree approximately can able to give 250 to 300 kilos of mangoes. Now, all the fruits will be uniform once you do a nice pruning. I mean, the canopy management. Now, so this is actually rejuvenation pruning, which is actually in the aged tree. You can also do. We can mix it. This is about 60-year-old mango tree, which is not giving yield for say 10-15 years. So we started resorting to I mean rejuvenation pruning. A rare case, if you want to maintain, you can also do this pruning. And say from the ground level, you can maintain up to 10 to 12 feet. And on all sides, actually you have to uniformly allow the branches to remain and to create, I mean, get a nice growth. So these are all, of course, rejuvenated mangoes. So now let us come to the, so how to do all those things. Actually, you need tools. And one is actually Sikesher, another one is actually saw, another, I mean, shears and power operated, I mean, chainsaw. So another, we have a hydraulic fruit picking machine and tractor mounted hydraulic platforms. So this is the one which we purchased from Israel. This company is actually Afron 500. In India, actually, we purchased in the year 2010, if I'm correct. We got a project from ICR, actually this NIP project. Through that only we were able to do a lot of research on mango plant high density as well as I mean canopy management. The length between, say the distance between one tie to the another tie is about 8 feet. So actually in an orchard where you have 10 feet apart, now the planting, this machine can be used. This is the bucket wherein you have all these actually instruments like clutches and pruners and all. With that, now you can reach 25 feet height. This is actually, you can easily reach 25 feet height. The cost of the machine by then, it was around 12 lakh rupees. Now it may be a little more or a little less, I'm not very sure. So this machine is used to reach the height so that you'll be able to do canopy management very efficiently. So this is actually, we invited say about 500 people across the state, and everybody witnessed how this machine is working, and everybody appreciated. At the end of the day, the cost seems to be on a higher side. Nobody is willing to buy it. So this is another cheaper version. This we bought it from Gujarat. The cost is little lesser, maybe about 6 or 7 lakhs, I think. This is fitted on tractor trailer, and it can also be used like that. But the safety measures are far better in Israeli model, wherein here the safety measures are not as that of the Israeli model. So we have conducted several meetings along with farmers and all. So coming to the last these things, the canopy management in young trees in first 2 years is very critical. You have to have branches in all directions. There won't be any new low-lying branches actually up to 2 feet minimum, maximum 3 feet, and actually 16 branches. From there you'll be able to get a very good growth all over. So this is very critical with reference to young orchards, the first 2 years. And the second is actually in the coming to the bearing trees. First pruning is actually very crucial. You need to ensure the nitrogen content of those plant, the initial stage, well below 1 or around 1. And the second pruning is very essential because actually here again, sometimes because of the fertile soil, at the time of flowering, you get once again thick growth of trees. So that should be taken care, and you have to remove branches if what you feel is actually excess, and it should provide enough light to penetrate in. So that is again, the second pruning is also very important as far as canopy management is concerned. And the canopy management is rejuvenation is non-bearing trees. If you feel like it is very old branches, it won't produce any new shoots. There you can go for rejuvenation pruning. And the tools and equipments actually that they are very essential. There are quite a lot of tools available in the market. And with that tool, you can precisely do whatever you want to do. Suppose a branch which is beyond our reach, if you want to remove, probably with that tools, we can able to do it very nicely. And we can also use chemicals to induce flowering so that it will be complete. Say, canopy management is very critical for those trees which are like what I want to say is choice varieties. Regular bearing varieties, canopy management is not going to do much difference. So it is just actually why? Because heavy bearers they exhaust themselves once the harvest is over. By the time of harvest, it will exhaust. So next season it is also ready for flowering and or something like that. So especially choice varieties or alternate bearing varieties, they should be taken taken care of so that maintaining the nitrogen level, maintaining the soil fertility, irrigation management. These three things are very essential. If needed, you can also use some chemicals to force those plants to produce flowers. So with this, actually, I conclude, and thank you for patiently listening. Thanks for the organizer for giving me a chance.
Thank you very much, sir. Sir, you may kindly close your screen sharing. Okay, Ganesh, you please do it. Thank you very much, sir, for your excellent presentation. Really, it was an eye-opener for many of the farmers as well as the researchers. Because mango, it appears to be an arm crop. They call it as arm in Hindi, but it's not that. It's a simple crop. It's a complex crop. Needs vast experience and continuous working with that. I think I open this topic for discussion. We have really a very experienced senior person with us, worked almost three and a half decade on mango. I request the participants to anybody has got any queries, they can ask Dr. Balmohan, sir, please.
Good morning, sir. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon.
Sir, this is Devashish, PhD student, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, you have mentioned about that pruning in mango, sir. Can you, sir, quantify the pruning that is up to 2 word, 3 word, 4 word, 5 word? You said that it is a light pruning or moderate pruning should be done in the mango. But so that quantification of pruning, sir, up to what word it should be pruned so that we can get in the next season, we can get the fruit or flowering. So that the nitrogen content should be below or around 1, below 1 or around 1.
Normally what we do know, say if you see the plant, if it is dark green, you assume that it is with plenty of nitrogen. Of course, it may be more than 1.5 or 1.7, sometimes it even crosses 2. So the critical level is actually 1% nitrogen. Critical level is 1% nitrogen. So at the time of pruning, if you have the data, probably if nitrogen is more, you can go little harder rather than lighter pruning. If you do harder pruning, what will happen? So more branches will come, the plant will put forth more branches using the nitrogen well within the plant. So if we get 4 branches instead of 2, definitely the nitrogen level will come down. If nitrogen level is coming down, automatically the dormant buds, they are not pushed in the sense, they will not produce once again a vegetative shoot. So regulating or moderating the pruning intensity, we can get new fleshes which are again regenerative one rather than the vegetative one. This is one thing. The second thing, you can also have soil testing results with you. So there are 3 or 4 factors you have to consider. One is actually soil testing. If your soil is rich in nitrogen, definitely the either irrigation or rainfall during the period, pre-flowering period, will affect your whole pattern, in the sense that the flowering will be affected because of the high nitrogen content in the soil or high nitrogen content in the plant. So most of the farmers, what they used to tell, sir, my plant is with the dark green leaves, what I have to do? So one thing they need to do, they need to shift from light pruning to moderate or heavy pruning. It depends upon the density of the plant, the density. The canopy density. So this is one thing. The second thing, the nitrogen level is high, then you have to do little harder pruning so that it will be exhausted. The third thing, of course, if nitrogen content well within the plant is more, either you can go for complete pruning of past season or retaining 1/3 of the past season. Say retaining 1/3 of the past season is actually a light pruning. Removing full past season growth. Here again, past season growth, we are not going to remove all the past season growth. 50% of the branches, the past season branches. Could you able to understand what I'm trying to tell? If we remove all the past season, there won't be any new growth. There won't be any new flowers. Say you get past season growth everywhere, and if you do light pruning, you'll be getting more of flowers. If you do hard pruning, from the hard pruned point, you may get branches, but they may not be fruitful branches.
Unlike other crops, like in case of apple or in case of grape, it has been quantified that what is the light, or in case of bear also, the light pruning is quantified, that is up to 15 bud. In case of bear it is 15 bud, up to 15 it is a heavy pruning, the 25 is the light pruning. So in case of mango, can we quantify that?
Yes. If you have a high density planting, say about 400 plants to 674 plants per acre, probably you will be able to say every year, and under high density planting, the shoot length used to be 1 meter maximum or 70 centimeters. Suppose if you apply paclobutazole, the growth used to be 70 centimeters. If there is no paclobutazole, the growth used to be 1 meter. Now, this 1 meter, what level you have to maintain, that is based on the availability of nitrogen. So whether you are going to do a light pruning, whether you are going to do hard pruning, or you are going to come down to the removal of the total shoot, the past season, it depends. So you have to be there in the field forever. So it's not a unless otherwise you understand the crop, be with the crop right from beginning till the end, probably you will be able to judge where we have to touch. So yes, but the tools may be right, actually testing the nitrogen levels, testing the soil nitrogen, leaf nitrogen. Besides this, one more thing, what amount of fruit you collected from the tree, the past season yield. If the past season yield is very heavy, nitrogen and all the nutrient will be exhausted, and there you need not disturb the plant very heavily. If you get good yield, next year also, a mild pruning is okay. If there is no yield, then you have to exhaust it. So many factors are there. Actually, what I want to say here is, if you travel the crop around the year, probably you will identify, yes, this is the level we have to. But one thing is very sure, then you need to allow light from the top, at least 25% canopy opening. there are three types, no? The center opened, modified open tree, and actually another one, actually center leader, modified, and open centered. These are all the three basic pruning system, actually training system in horticulture crops. So this is one after bearing. The center opened system is all the best system with reference to mango. If you open the center, that will solve major problem. That will solve major problem. That will allow light to penetrate so that all the leaves will synthesize enough need the carbohydrate and other things. No, the carbon synthesis and all my biomass will be more, and at the end of the day, you'll be able to get better yield.
Sir, you have mentioned about the three types of canopy system. Sir, in general, we being asked that that sunburn, the mango is a tropical crop, and sunburn is a part, like it is is it a symptom that sunburn is high in the open center system as compared to the modified training system or central ladder system?
It depends. It depends. No, actually, a tree like mango, where you get only, flowers all over the, canopy. In the sense, it's a terminal flowering system. Terminal flowering. Mostly, you may not get any branches. Well within the trunk or close to the trunk. So all the leaves which are away from the trunk, or on the peripheral side of the trunk plant, they are the ones leaves producing plenty of photosynthesis. So keeping the center opened, open in the sense branches actually well within the plant. No, there should not be any branches, and if you open it properly, there won't be any pest. Actually, I mentioned that microclimate is very important for mango. The microclimate, if you maintain a very ideal microclimate, there won't be any pest, there won't be any diseases now. And the spraying also will be very effective. Will be very effective when the center is totally open. So here, of course, those branches, of course, what I want to say, in a small tree, you can easily mention, or you can easily count how many fruiting branches used to be there. Say about 60 branches or 30 branches, and each branch 2 fruits. Ultimately, you will be able to get 60 fruits, and you can properly load that, and ultimately you will be able to predict what yield you will be able to get at the particular season. So it's a complex one. It's a complex one. If you travel along, probably you will be able to understand much better, and you can easily understand why I'm telling. When I'm moving with farmers, there used to be 40 to 50 plants in his farm, and he'll be mentioning this tree will flower. And actually, I asked this question to the farmer: how come you identify? Said this tree is turning yellow in the month of December. Say a leaf turning light color, no, that is the tree which is going to produce flowers. So these are all practical, observation by the farmer. Out of 40 trees, no, he'll be able to tell this tree will flower, this tree will flower. And I was asking, why, how come you find out that these trees will flower? He used to tell, this is not dark green in color, sir. The color is fading and it is towards yellow. So the dormancy is completed. So my bud is ready to put forth flower. So these observations, based on the leaf color, positioning and all, say they could able to come about with these plants will come when produce flowers without any issues also.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Sumar, sir.
First of all, thank you very much for arranging this webinar on national level. And thanks to Dr. Balamohan. I am from Tamil Nadu, Vellore district. Applying the growth regulators, is their lifespan will be reduced?
Say, I can tell you one single example so that you can able to understand. So say even now there is a group of people, farmers are saying that you should not apply say salt to the soil. Of course, all chemical soils, say chemicals should not be, all chemicals in the sense fertilizer should not be applied. Yes, I do agree. But in our dish, we apply salt to make it palatable. Say all our stuff, so they're all added with salt. But the amount amount is advisable or admitted amount, it is not going to harm you. So application of chemicals will not kill the plant, provided if you are adhering to that concentration. Suppose if you apply 1% nitrogen means urea means it won't affect the plant. Suppose if you apply 8% or 20% of urea, that will affect the plant. Small quantity recommended. Say even actually for this question, paclobutazol is applied in the month of September. Then you are going to harvest the fruit in the month of June. Say there is a span of 7 months in between. Say 3 months for actually induction of flowers and 4.5 months for fruiting. Ultimately 7.5 months the chemical will be weaned out, in the sense after 7 months only we are harvesting. If you apply the right quantity, it won't affect the plant.
If I applied in January, whether I will get in on the off season?
Off season is possible, sir. Off season is possible, but you should meticulously plan. You should meticulously plan. You have to skip the regular season crop. Then you should prune in the month of April, March or April. You get a new flush at the end of April. Then if you apply paclobutazol, you get it, which will get the flowers in the month of June, July, and ultimately you'll be able to get fruits in the month of October, November. So you have to plan it. You have to skip the regular crop forcibly by applying excess nitrogen, then pruning in the month of actually March, April, then applying paclobutazol. This you can do, but you have to join with some of those farmers who are well trained. There are quite a lot of farmers near Pochampally. There are about 200 farmers doing this off-season mangoes. You can join with them. Probably they will be able to enlighten how they are doing in a successful way.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
So, any other queries? I think it was an elaborate discussion on various issues. Sir, out of your vast experience, you have shared your ideas, and it's a continuous process, what I understand. Many farmers in our region have also taken up the high density planting. The common question is, what is the age till we can harvest this? Whether of the under high density planting, we can go up to 15 years or 20 years.
So we have actually orchards of about 15, 17 years old. And so far we are getting decent yield. But actually, as far as orchards, high density orchards are concerned, you have to be very sure about the nutrient management, the water management. And if you do it very precisely, every year I think you'll be able to get yield. And right now in India, we have orchards about 15 or 17 years old. So far, there is no problem. We need to wait, say, for a few more years. Then only you'll be able to tell how long these orchards can be maintained. But right now, we have 15 years old orchards or 17 years old orchards. And anybody wants to see aged orchard, they can come down to Udumalpet, the Jain irrigation facility, where they have beautiful orchards with about 65 acres, and they have different planting distance, wider spacing being practiced, and they have some 4 or 5 varieties under their experimental system. So there are orchards about 15 to 17 years, but we need to wait for a few more years to know how long it can be maintained.
Okay, I think if there are no questions, on behalf of University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot and College of Horticulture, Bidar, sir, we wholeheartedly thank you for your very elaborative discussion as well as coverage of the topic on the complex issue of canopy management in evergreen plant, that is mango. I thank you very much, sir. I think with this, we end this session of first technical session of our national webinar. And we will be again rejoining in the afternoon with 2 more sessions, one on canopy management and use of plant growth regulators in grape by Dr. Ram Teke, and followed by another very important topic on canopy management and flower regulation in pomegranate by Dr. Vinay Supe from Ganesh Kent Fruit Research Station, Pune, MPKV Rahuri. Once again, I thank you very much, sir, and thanks all the participants who are present here. including our Director of IHR, who is continuously present. Thank you very much, sir, for your continuous presence and giving us a strength and boost to hold such sessions. On behalf of University of Horticulture Sciences, Bagalkot, I express my thanks to all the participants and request rejoin the session sharply at 2 o'clock. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.